Yeah, yeah. Deal with it, baller. Hey guys, what's going on? Just sat down. Gotta change clothes. I've been working downstairs, so I gotta change clothes and gotta check all my stuff in the back end. But hello! Greetings! I'm here, I'm alive, don't worry. I just like to make sure that people have a chance to join in before the stream actually begins. I'll call the guests in about 15 minutes. Here, hold on one second. I'll call the guests in about 15 minutes. We'll get the cams and mics set up. Make sure everything's all our ducks are in a row, and we'll get going. Got a good show today. Very excited. Make sure you guys check out check the mod channel. Okay, I will. That sounds ominous. Hold on one second. What's going on here? Yeah, so you can promote. We can, and you're encouraged to promote whatever you want, Drewish. Everything's good. It's just that you can see it at the top of the show outline that you have access to everyone's Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube handle. But you'll see, of course, Dalaran Gaming doesn't have a Twitch channel. He doesn't do anything on Twitch. Yeah, you can promote everyone's everything that you see there. So thank you for checking. Hello, Stompy. How are you? I'm not. We're not starting yet, obviously. So nothing bad, just logistics. You're logistically awesome. You sound good, Drewish. The kids are out of the house right now. My wife took them to a friend's house. However, they my kids were invited to go play with a couple of friends today, and my wife they had scheduled it to be out of the house right when the show started. But the show wound up getting pushed by an hour, so now they're out of the house, I don't know, for all of 30 minutes during the show. I mean, not that it's a big deal, but anyway, it's all good. But yeah, I'm gonna go change. I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee, because I want to. Just gonna do something else. I gotta make sure I've got all my stuff ready on the back end, which I pretty much do. In fact, here, we can go through this real quick. I'm changing the stuff in the upper right-hand corner. Everything should be good. Yep. Okay. Everything's good there. Yeah, I think we're good. Shaved my head last night. Gotta look good. Yo, DeValin, what up, baby? Gillaboyful. Hello to you over on YouTube. What's up? Yeah, I'll be back in just a little bit. I'm gonna call that guy DeValin and a couple of other dudes, like I said, in about 15 minutes, just to make sure everything's up and running, and then we'll hit the ground running, and we'll have a good time. This stream, this episode does have a slightly different format. Hopefully, I don't drop the ball. Hopefully, it goes off without a hitch. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I hope you guys enjoy the new format. Oh, real quick, if you have not answered there is a poll. A Google form with I think it's 6 questions on it. You can type in the command poll if you want to answer it, and we will go over the questions during the show. So feel free to participate as much or as little as you want to. You're talking about Dalaran. I see. I do have a command for it, Drewish. That way you don't have to manually do it. Manually link it, blah 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 blah. Anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes. I will see you guys after I am changed and ready to settle in. Appreciate you guys being here. See you in a few. See you in a few, dudes. Be right back. You know, Nerdist, it's just a natural byproduct of playing a hunter all the time. Just all about being a hunter, man. That's all it is. It's really that simple. You want to be handsome? Play a hunter. I mean, look at Banchers, look at Azertharian. Look at all these other gamers that are hunters. I'm pretty simple. Yes, exactly. Less stress. You're not wrong. All right, I'm going to start getting this ball rolling here. Thank you, guys. Will we be calling here? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we will. Now, you're going to hear me talking to these guys. Actually, no, I'm going to mute my mic. Never mind. we'll do a quick audio check. Let me get this stuff off my screen here. What the heck? Did you shift, Lance? What the heck? Oh, I got you.
Did not.
All right, no problem. No problem. I got this. Hold on.
I can if you need.
Right. No, I'm just being silly. I had text covering your screen, so just want to center you a little bit more. There we go. That's nice. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We'll start the show here in just a moment. We're gonna do a mic check like we normally do. We've been yapping behind the scenes, just having a good time. Learned that somebody here could murder us with a weapon that they are very proficient with. Not gonna name any names, but you don't want to get in his bad side, believe me. But Dalaran, if you could, let's do a mic check. Chat, let me know how he sounds. If he comes through loud and clear, thank you.
Check 1 2 1 2. Hello.
Sound good to me. Thank you, sir. Chat, let me know if anything sounds off with him. And I'll adjust you guys throughout the show if anything is too quiet, too loud, whatever, so don't sweat it. Devalin, your turn, sir.
Yep, 1 2 3. Mic test, 1 2 3.
Sound good. Love your background, but again, you're making us look bad, Lance. You really are, man. Your background is just next level, dude.
If you want, I have a green screen I could go and grab and put it up. Whatever.
No.
Needed, man.
We'll bow to your amazingness in this case. Your camera is a little blurry, by the way. I don't know if that's a filter or if it's just the way that it is, but I did want to let you know just in case it was something you could adjust. But if you can't, don't lose any sleep over it. We can still see you. Don't worry.
I think I might be able to do something about it. Let's do a quick check.
Yeah, I am Burn J. I saw you ask earlier. Yes, this is also simulcasting on YouTube. So if you prefer to watch it on YouTube, you can hop on over there. And we'll just have some fun.
Okay, so that's Sky's camera. Not entirely sure how to use his camera.
I tell you. No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We can see you. We can see you. We can hear you. And if you're a little out of focus, it's not that big of a deal, I promise. But yeah, you sound good. Everyone, any issues? Hey, Scarwin, any issues with the audio from you guys? From the audience's perspective, I should say. Oh, real quick, I'll say this a couple times throughout the show, but if you guys have not partaken in the poll, you can type in the command poll in Twitch chat, and a Google form will pop up, and you can go answer some questions that we'll be discussing here on the stream during the episode. We have 12 responses. Ooh, last time I checked, it was only 4. Very nice. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and hit the ground running. Here it is. Oh, it's 3:01. We're late now. But if you guys need anything before we start, you guys good?
Good.
Oh, good.
You guys are awesome. Thank you again for being here. Let's get this show on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Brutally Honest, the WoW podcast. This is episode 11. We are deep into the double digits now, but I'm joined today by 3 incredible guests, as per usual. But before we get to them, I think we can all agree that patch 12.0 is right around the corner. Today is Sunday as of this recording, so for North America, we're 2 days away. And this is not your typical normal pre-patch. I know they're all different, of course, but this is literally changing how a lot of us approach and play WoW, and not just how things are tuned. It's more than just a pruning. But before we get into that, of course, I'm not going to be reading patch notes and whatnot, but I do want to introduce my guests this week, and we're going to start with Dal here, who... Dal, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are a Mythic Raider, Mythic Plus guy. You love pushing keys, at least, a portion of the season. I'm interested to hear your take on things this week because, not everyone in this call is a high-level Mythic Plus player or, 8 out of 8 in Mythic and whatnot. And I think having a little bit of, not a clash necessarily, but having a different perspective is going to do us a lot of good. But thank you for being here, man. I do appreciate it. You guys can find him at Dalaran Gaming on YouTube. And you can follow him on Twitter. And of course, as with everyone, links are below. But thank you for being here, Dal. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
I can call you Dal, right? Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure thing.
I don't want to be presumptuous here, but thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Dal's better. Dal's easier.
Up next, we got Devalin. Now, Devalin, you're feeling a little under the weather today. How you feeling right now?
I'm all right. All good. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here, man. Devalin, you are a huge advocate for the single button assistant. You've been making guides for a while now for people, gamer dads, gamer moms, people who don't have a ton of time, disabled people who are looking for an easier way to connect with the game and whatnot without the pressure of high-end optimization. Would that be correct? Is that kind of your niche, your avenue?
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome, man. I don't personally use a single button assistant with every single character, but I'm a big fan of it existing. I know it might be controversial to some of you people out there, but I said what I said. But similarly, you can find Devalin. Now, you stream on Twitch occasionally. I think you've had one stream this year. Is that right?
Yeah, Twitch and YouTube.
Okay, you can find this guy on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. Links are below. But thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we've got one half of the Comeback Kids, Lance. It's a good day for Lance. Thank you for being here, man. You are just dialed into that community these days. You have been running your show with your brother NZ Sky. Is that correct? For how long now?
Yeah,
A couple years?
The channel itself has been a couple of years. We have had a weekly show since February of 25.
Wow, almost a year now then.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you for sitting down with us today and allowing us to connect with you on this level and hearing your perspective on things. It is genuinely a joy to connect with you guys and to sit down with people on a weekly basis. And listen, this show may not be as fancy as yours, Lance, but I do appreciate you being here. So thank you very much, man. But you all do engage with WoW a little differently. So throughout the show, I want you guys to jump in. I want you guys to be don't just be agreeable. Don't just be polite. Feel free to disagree. Feel free to, I don't want to go so far as to say butt heads, but I would love to know different perspectives and whatnot. But right out of the gate, I mentioned, I think it was before I started recording the episode, but we do have polls running this episode. Anyone who's watching this live, and I guess I can even link the poll after the recording. You can go find the poll below in the description, but if you're live, type in the command poll, you can answer those questions. But we're going to get to those questions, and we're going to get to viewer questions throughout the episode. So make sure you answer that and participate. But let's get into this, gentlemen. But before we get into specific systems, I think it is worth mentioning again that patch 12.0 is a pretty big deal. It's changing how players receive information. It's changing how they make decisions and understanding what the game expects of them moment to moment. So I think the real question is just, again, right out of the gate is, what version of WoW is Blizzard actively designing for now with Midnight? Dal, do you want to take that?
I'm assuming you mean like classic retail, those type of versions, or
well, we're going to stick with retail for the most part, but with Midnight, with all of these changes, this big shift with combat add-ons, the class pruning, and just how things are feeling going. Have you done any beta testing by chance?
As much as I can. I try to do a lot. In my free time, I'm just running keys constantly, like just seeing what
Same.
the classes are feeling like, what they're like how they're going, tanks, healers, especially like specs that I don't normally partake in. I try to play them on live and then test them on beta, see what's actually different. Mostly just out of curiosity, but always an opportunity for possible content or just to get better at understanding that can result in content. So I do spend a lot of time on beta, more than on live. I kind of just abandoned my rogue. I'm like logging into play Assassination for Dimensius. Instead of that, I'd rather spend the rest of my time on the beta.
So with your time on the beta, like, and even with the reading the patch notes and knowing the direction that Blizzard is taking it, like what kind of game, what type of game is Blizzard building now with retail? Like, how does Midnight differentiate itself from The War Within and even Dragonflight?
I think they're trying to go for obviously more approachable with all the different class changes. They're trying to, I think they're trying to broaden the audience of the game. I don't think they're trying to shift it. The changes to like the in-game add-ons, restrictions to the weak auras, it feels like they're just trying to create a more approachable experience, but also it feels like they're trying to make a game that is more engagement focused. And that sounds always bad, but I do think they're trying to make World of Warcraft as a game something that you're engaging with more regularly. And that's beyond just even like the way that they're structuring Midnight, but also other like seasonal things they've done, like remix and other things like that. So it seems like that they're not really trying to change the model too much, but they're trying to make it some kind of like a more approachable beast. And I think this is the best way I could answer that question, to be honest.
Devalin, from your perspective, given what you focus on, like how approachable do you feel Midnight is compared to these other two expansions that we've had recently?
Well, for my little niche, it's getting even better because the game is definitely going a more casual way. Of course, there's still going to be difficult content, like doing a +20 key or something like that is still going to be, something hardcore. But for example, the single button assistant is going to be rolling even better in midnight because the rotation is less. It's simpler. I have even tested some of them, and some of them only has like 13% average from like the difference between like a normal rotation and a single button rotation. And with housing coming into the game, you are adding a lot of casual players who basically want to play Sims in World of Warcraft. So of course they're also going to make the gameplay easier for those type of people, because can you imagine someone who comes in to build a house and then they also have to follow a 12 key rotation? It's not really going to work out.
Yeah, I think you definitely. I think both of you guys hit the nail on the head there. Blizzard is absolutely aiming to attract more people. I don't know if that's because numbers are bad or because they think they just they can reach more people by making these changes, and the game's already healthy and it's going to be healthier than it currently is. I don't know, of course, but I think that especially in the long run, these are healthier changes. What do you think, Lance? Any opinion on that?
Yeah, and what I would say is I feel like for both Dragonflight and The War Within, they played it very safe because of what Shadowlands was, right? And I think I'm not even going to get into that. We all know, right? So they kind of were like, all right, let's strip the game back. Let's go back to basics, and then let's build on that. Turns out talent trees have been great since Dragonflight. It did overbloat things a little bit, right? And then they kind of didn't do much to help that in The War Within with adding the hero talents. Things still felt, enhancement shaman, right? Like that thing is crazy. And now it feels like, okay, we got the game to a healthy spot again. People are enjoying it. People are coming back. Let's swing for the fences. And that's what Midnight, at least to me, kind of feels like. Let's swing for the fences. Let's go ahead and make these classes simpler. Let's make the game more approachable. I think they know for guys like Dal, they got you, buddy. You're playing regardless.
Yeah.
Right? Like high-end players are going to play regardless. So maybe we don't need to design the game 100% for them. They're probably locked in. Let's try to bring in new people. And that's what at least to me, that's what it feels like Midnight is so far.
I mean, is there a downside with any of this style, this type of development? Does anyone have an opinion on that?
So the comment that Lance made on the high end, a lot of them are locked in, but it's also not a guarantee. There's always like at the high end, there's always a hunger for like more rewarding content, more difficult content, but while it does seem like the high end is serviced pretty well, I think there are some gaps that are missing. Like when you do see people like, why do some players one season they're invested and another season they're not? Blizzard does do well, but there's some moments where they do miss the mark with high end. So I won't say that they do have a good portion of players that do like difficult content. Like as long as raids and endgame bosses are engaging, and as long as we don't have any more like Stone Legion generals from Shadowlands, the less those fights, more than Nothrius type of fights, the better. But I still think there's more that could be done for those high-end players that are looking to get more out of it than, like for Mythic Plus, for example, just my numbers go up kind of deal, right? I think there's definitely I feel like they maybe just stretching themselves a little thin. They're trying to hit all the different, player bases, casual, mid-core, high-end. And I think no matter who they focus on, there's always going to be a community that will feel like they're just not getting as much attention for them, I guess.
So let me ask you this to kind of, tangent off of what you're talking about there with Blizzard adding, damage meter, cooldown manager, revamped nameplates, that kind of stuff. These changes are obviously targeted, whether it's targeted at a person, targeted at a problem. What problem are they trying to solve by integrating this stuff, by implementing it on their end instead of having, third-party add-ons to it?
I think the reason to turn and make those add-ons a part of the in-game UI is to try to create more of an even playing field between a variety of different players, so everybody has access to the same tools, right? Like, let's say you do have a brand new player come to Midnight that would need to learn what add-ons are, how to install them. And while we've done it for a while, we know what's it like, where to find them, whether you do it through like the Curse app, CurseForge app, WoW up, or just the old school where you just drop it into the interface folder. A brand new player won't like naturally know how to do that. Like with the base UI, they don't know how much damage they're doing. They have no idea. They don't have extra alerts and flashing lights and status checks telling them, hey, you're getting targeted by a boss ability while you're trying to learn how to play your class optimally. So it adds more ways to be able to raise the floor for some of those players getting into the game, giving them the tools and information they need to make sure that at least everybody has the bare bones tools to at least have like a fighting chance and to try to be competitive. I think that is the whole purpose. But it also is an acknowledgement that those add-ons have been impactful in how the game has been developed. And to try to design a game without these tools is silly at this point. Like these tools have been problem solvers and they've been able to give players more information to make more informed decisions regarding the play, regarding mechanics. So they're just acknowledging that those tools have been helpful and are just integrating as part of the base UI because they know that they help shape the game. So don't fight it. Add that in. I think that's what the purpose of them being added as a baseline UI is.
Devalin, how important are those tools for your neck of the woods? And I'm not trying to put you in a box because obviously, listen, I don't know you guys personally. I don't raid with you. I don't run dungeons with you. This is our first time really sitting down, so I don't want to be assumptuous. I know. I'm sorry.
We play all the time together, bro. Don't lie to the people. What are you talking about?
But how important are these tools for you and for people that fall into that category?
Well, see, like Midnight is going to be the expansion where I will officially say I will not be running with add-ons anymore. It's going to be the expansion where I will be totally without add-ons because I'm going to have a boss warning, a damage meter, nameplates that show what I need to see, cooldown managers, even with sounds. It's going to have everything that I personally need. And I think for the casual audience, it's going to be so nice that they can literally take an export string, throw it directly into the game, and one of your favorite content creators made a clean, simple UI in the game. You import it, boom, everything is there. No add-ons needed, anything. Of course, there's still going to be some high-end players who wants add-ons for doing this. But for me personally, since I would call myself in the casual end, I don't need add-ons anymore in Midnight.
Yeah, I think that's, again, what you two have been talking about. I think that's so true. Dal, you said, I'm paraphrasing, you've been playing the game for a while. You've installed add-ons 1,000 times over. I love, and add-ons, by the way, aren't going away. I know that's kind of the running remark right now, but combat add-ons, primarily weak ores, of course, is going away in a couple of days, but add-ons themselves are fine. And I've done it for years now. You've done it for years now. Most of us have done it for years now, but you're right. When people come to the game and they install it, they hit the ground running. What's an add-on? How do you install it? Where do you find them? There's a billion of them out there. What do they all do? So I think this is a problem that needed to be solved. And even if somebody like me doesn't love losing his weak auras, I see the purpose and I can see the promise behind it as well. Lance, did you have any opinions on anything?
Yeah, I mean, they both hit the nail on the head, right? But it's just, imagine you're just coming back. The amount of comments we get in YouTube where it's like, hey, just coming back from Wrath of the Lich King, I have no idea what's going on. And I'm getting told I'm going into a heroic raid, and we even, as a matter of fact, on our show last night, someone brought it up. It's like, I'm going into a raid. If I don't have the add-on installed, they're not even letting me in. Like, I don't have the Fractalist weak aura. Okay, well, I don't get to play tonight then. Or I have to go and download it. That's, first off, I mean, I'm sure you guys know heroic Fractals. I don't think you need that thing, right? But that's a ridiculous thing. And good on Blizzard for, let's swing. Let's get rid of this. This is crazy. And like Dal said, yeah, I've been playing the game since TBC. I've downloaded add-ons a million times the old-fashioned way, CurseForge, whatever it is. But we cannot expect this game to grow again if people are coming in and they're having to do a laundry list of chores to be able to play the game effectively. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things to where, you look at the four of us and you look at, people watching this live, even the people watching this on YouTube and so on and so forth, there are literally thousands, tens of thousands of people to where add-ons are just run of the mill, no big deal. But there are a lot of people out there that never downloaded them. They're brand new to the game. I mean, again, I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's definitely, I think it's healthy for the game. Even if I'm losing something, I do think it's healthy for the game. Do you think that all of the stuff that Blizzard's implementing, like the damaging with the cooldown manager, etc., the foundations that Blizzard is building on, is this just the way it's gonna be, or do you think that this is just a compromise that players are gonna tolerate for a while, and then we've been talking about pulling the ripcord, we've been talking about Blizzard backpedaling a little bit. Is this something do you think they're committed to for the rest of the game's lifespan? Oh, Devalin, thank you for raising your hand. Please go ahead.
I think it's the start of something. Like they are starting out. I mean, some people say that they should have started out even lighter, but this is the start. This is a transition where slowly all the favorite add-ons you have on CurseForge is slowly getting into the game, and I think in the end of Midnight, we're gonna see when you go to that in gameplay enhancement page setting, it's gonna have so much more in there. But this is just the start of it. That's what I think.
Lance, what do you think?
Yeah, it's got to be a play for the future, right? And I would say, I sure hope if they're going to make this big swing that they don't walk it back. I think it's going to change the way that the game is developed, and I feel like he's right. Like, this is just the start. At least I hope. Like, I want them to go further, make it so that everyone could play the game and feel like they could customize their game right out of the box without needing anything. I think that would be the best thing. And there's going to be growing pains. I'm sure Midnight Season 1 is going to be awkward. Maybe even Season 2. But I think the hope would be maybe by Season 3 going into Last Titan, the game is in a great spot. But this has got to be a future play. And maybe it hurts, and maybe some people do leave the game for now, and then they come back when things are perfect, I guess. If perfect, chasing perfection, right? But you know what I mean.
Yeah. Dally, do you have any perspective on any of this stuff that we've been talking about?
Yeah, it sucks losing weak auras. We built an entire package, you know what I mean? Like, you maybe there's a mechanic that I play an outlaw rogue. I got roll the bones to manage. I got keep it rolling to manage. I got between the eyes to manage. I can't miss a global, otherwise I'm losing up to my drone. Like, my class is a mess. I need weak auras for all of War Within. I'm kind of glad that I'm getting rid of them. To be honest, just the class design is just feeling like my mental load is finally getting to drop. The cortisol levels also get to drop too, just from playing my class's rotation. That being said, Blizzard also needs to recognize that by giving us a cooldown manager, which is fine, it needs a lot of work. The problem is we're going into an expansion where they initially said, pretty sure, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they say they were going to slowly remove reliance on add-ons? I didn't think they were just going to cut the cord.
They did say that, and then they decided to not do that and do what they're doing instead.
Exactly. The problem is the tools that they gave us, they are fine on paper, but there are also issues. One, the way that this is designed right now, like the combat manager, cooldown manager, it lacks agency that a weak aura can allow you to make, right? The player agency to track anything and everything you need in the very particular way that you are looking to track it. And right now, like, I mean, what you got, like a bucket for bars, a bucket for track cooldowns, a bucket for utility or essential cooldowns, but that's it. What if you want like 2 bars, one for buffs and one for dots as a Kadak class? You can't do that. And that is something that I think they need to improve upon. They need to not just let, I mean, of course we can just let add-ons do it, right? Because add-ons are still going to be somewhat in the game, but if they really want to just grab a hold and grasp those tools into their hands, they need to do more on their like side of things. Every 0.5, 0.7, and every seasonal update, there needs to be some sort of an adjustment, an addition, an improvement on these in-game add-ons that they're essentially taken over, just to give players as much agency as possible, because they are removing tools that players have been able to customize in depth and use. And it's fine if you're trying to like take more control of it, but you can't take away that agency from players. That feels bad. it's a situation where we can't really change how they're going to approach it, but that's the least they can do is like try to do their best on their end to catch up.
Yeah, I know that, of course, with the class pruning and with the changes to everything, the idea is we don't need weak ores anymore because things are that much more approachable, that much more easily understood. I can't say that's going to be true for every class, every specialization, every fight, of course. I think we will undeniably run into problems. But I don't know. I mean, not like we can do much about it, I suppose, until people potentially find fixes or solve those problems with extraneous add-ons and whatnot. Did you guys want to touch on anything real quick before I shift the focus, Lance or Devalin?
Okay. I'm good.
Okay, so real quick for anyone who's just tuning in, maybe you didn't hear me at the beginning, we are running polls this episode for the first time. Amazing, I know. The first question that ties into what we're talking about right now, the question was, what worries you most about the pre-patch? And the response so far, 50% of the votes that have come in, people are worried about class and spec changes. As a hunter, I'm good. I'm not too worried about it. Things are pretty simple on my end.
Beastmaster Hunter? Are you Beastmaster or marksmanship? Hold on a second.
I play both, and I actually find marks. I mean, they're both really brain dead easy right now, but I find myself marksmanship's even a little bit easier. There's like 3 buttons with marks instead of 4 with the BM right now. What are you guys worried about? Devalin, are you worried about anything related to the pre-patch?
No, I think I'm gonna be the guy who's very positive. So far, I've been testing the beta so much, and I have just been positive. I'm only a bit sad about the way Survival Hunter's going. I really felt like, it needed to go this Rexar way, like old school Hunter, and then suddenly he just swings out a shotgun. It's like, that kind of destroys the entire theme with adding in dual wield. But so far, I'm actually quite positive about the beta, except that my main is C tier on the tier list. That's a bit wacky, but hopefully it will be better with the Blood Diff Knight.
What do you mean? Enhancement?
No, Blood Diff Knight.
Oh, Blood DK.
And
Godspeed, sir.
It's so far a scale for people say it's going to be the worst tank in season 1, so I guess I'm going to be the only one playing it.
That's good. If you're the only one playing it, you are the best. Blood DK. You have to look at it that way. Dow, what about you? What are you worried about with the pre-patch, other than combat add-ons, weak ores, that kind of stuff?
Me? Pre-patch. I mean, look, I play mostly Rogue. I play everything, but I mostly play Rogue, and I think this is the first expansion since Shadowlands, Dragonflight, and War Within, where Rogues actually got some attention, actually got some changes. You have no idea how forgotten the spec felt for the last couple expansions during the alpha and beta, and then just got some had to be fixed promptly after, usually by 3rd season of an expansion. It's been rough, right? Rogues have been pretty rough, and I feel like this is the first expansion where they actually paid attention to rogues, so I'm excited. This is why I delayed playing Outlaw in War Within, because I kind of like this BFA return to BFA style Outlaw in Midnight, plus the assassination and the bleed spread mechanic and some of those streamlinings, subtlety where they were like, all right, there's no maintenance buffs, you just cooldowns and that's it. So it's like, okay, at least there's focus there. Not because we have bugs, but excluding the bugs, I'm excited for Rogue in particular. So I'm not worried. I'm actually excited because my class actually got some development time, it feels like, for the first time in a while. So from that perspective, because of the class that I play, I'm excited. Everybody else, though, it's a wild number of changes, usually streamlining, but still wild enough where a lot of classes are going to feel like they play differently. I mean, Beastmaster Hunter, similar, but the focus is completely different. Survival, like Devalin said, also feels different thematically and mechanically. Everybody's kind of more or less the same, but a fire mage is gonna have to figure out that, I'm just casting fireballs the entire time and I lose Phoenix Flames. That's not fun anymore. So everybody's gonna be a little jarred, and at least we have a month to figure out if we're sticking with our mains or switching over.
What about you, Lance? Any concerns going in?
I was concerned enough to stop playing Shadow Priest for the first time since Wrath.
Oh no!
After
Yeah.
their 5th rework, man, come on.
Listen, I've endured that pain for long enough.
Fair.
I'm sure I'll still play it, but I'm not gonna main it. I don't know. I really just don't like what they're doing. I like season 2, War Within a lot for Shadow. I thought that was a ton of fun.
Listen,
can't
there's
do it.
always room for another hunter. All right, dude. Hunters mark this. Oh, come on, dude. You can't go wrong. Just telling you.
Marksman was my like side my alt for most of my WoW career, but
Let's do it.
I can't do the hunter thing,
What?
man. I can't do it. No way. I'm for the first time ever, I'm gonna play the new thing. I'm gonna play Devour. We'll see how. I'm sure. You know, it has some problems. I'm sure it will get fixed though, right? They got to give it some attention. So, whatever.
Hey, we'll see, man. We'll see. Make sure you guys are answering those poll questions. We'll tackle the next one here after this next discussion topic. We did have one viewer question that was captured. This question comes from I am Burn J. I assume she asks,
Yeah.
will you guys touch on how the millions of downloaded add-on Heckleys will shift the meta? Sorry, I'm just reading it as it's typed. I apologize. Will they use the single button rotation, or will they learn the new, easier gameplay? So I of course, you know, with Heckley going the way of weak ores and not being an add-on that is moving forward in Midnight, what are people who depend on Heckley? What are they going to do? I mean, I think single button assistant is probably a safe assumption. Anyone have any perspective on that?
You're talking about add-on Hikeli, right?
I pronounce it Heckley. Is it Hekeli? I'm sorry. Don't. I don't know how to pronounce things.
I pronounce it wrong too, to be honest. I'm gonna say both.
Well, when it comes to Hikeli, well, that's what I thought it was. When it comes to Hikeli, I see the new thing that is Blizzard added called Assisted Highlight is technically the new replacement for that. It basically shines up your spells, so you know which one to use. It's still quite okay. You can still do quite good, decent damage with it. So I would say I would even say it's a stronger competitor to Hikeli because it actually shows you what keybind to click on instead of Hikeli would show you in the middle of the screen. Of course, it can still show you which keybind it was, but now you have to look down your keys and actually learn from it. So I think it's a strong alternative that we have today.
So I just want to understand. I want to make sure I understand the systems that are in play. There's the single button assistant, which is just one button, and you can either spam the button or now you can hold down the button and it goes through your rotation.
Yep.
There's a GCD. It's like a 15 or 25% GCD cost on that, right?
Yep.
But there's also the highlighting assistant, the highlighting tool. What's it called again?
Assisted highlight.
Assisted highlight, to where as you're going through your rotation, an icon on your bar will illuminate, telling you what you should press next based on what you're doing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically, you know, Heckley built into the game in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's a fair compromise. Doc F8's actually asked a question that ties into this. What does this mean for add-on creators? I mean, I don't know. I don't make add-ons. I know weak ores, of course, they're not moving ahead with development, so I guess for a lot of people, it's probably, you know, just go on with their day and they continue making their add-ons with whatever API limitations have been placed. But I don't know if you guys have an opinion or perspective on that.
Things are going to evolve and shift, right? But it's not like they're dead. And I don't know why. There's a big misconception. Everyone thinks like all add-ons are dead, or at least a lot of people do. I don't know who's spreading that, but we gotta clear that up. But I guess Tuesday's around the corner, right? I guess we'll all get our answers then. Yeah, we'll figure it out then.
Go ahead. The add-on developers, they essentially just have to pivot. I think that's all they can do. And I feel like the add-on developers that work on like the creative side of things that are not being limited, you know, they're having fun. But the people that have focused in on like the combat and being able to, you know, organize information, gather information, allowed to create new tools, they're essentially like details. The guy running details essentially just can put a skin over the Blizzard's version of their damage meter, but they can't really extrapolate more information. So I feel like a lot of them are getting shafted with this whole like Blizzard being more hands-on with combat capabilities.
Yeah, again, I think it's definitely something that will improve the, you know, whether it be lifespan or the quality of life or whatever it is in the long run, but there will undeniably be growing pains, especially for people like me that just love weak ores, but not much I can do about it. This actually just kind of transitions us right into the next topic about, you know, add-ons and accessibility and whatnot. I don't want to talk about whether add-ons are good or bad, because everyone's going to have an opinion on that. I love them. Some other people hate add-ons. I don't understand that perspective, but we're not here to debate that. I want to talk about where and how Blizzard draws that line between player-created solutions and core game responsibility. Let's look at the damage meter initially. It lacks it's a bit lacking. It definitely lacks some advanced analysis right now, especially compared to details, while something like Warcraft logs, it still does a ton of heavy lifting. Obviously, do you guys think this is the right split, what you can see and track and do in game versus what can be captured and seen in the back end after a poll? Dal, you probably have an opinion on this.
So I think their implementation of the DPS meter, it is not as good as details. We can all let's just be honest here. Let's just be upfront. They'd be able to pull up details and seeing like how many abilities of yours crit, how many procs you're getting, all that info. It is so nice, right? Anybody at high end is going to enjoy that information because it gives you many more, like, you want to know how often a trinket procs to see if it's any good. You want to see how effective a talent build may be. And this gives you like the info you need. I feel like for a lot of players that, let's say, just do 10s for Mythic Plus weekly, maybe 12s, you know, anywhere between casual to like kind of mid-core, I think the damage meters they got are going to be just fine for a huge portion of the player base and a huge portion of the content. You could see who's hitting hard, you could see who's healing, you could even see unavoidable damage. And I think that addition is really, really nice. Like I'd see in that, oh, hey, that mechanic is avoidable, I probably should be avoiding it. So I feel like for a lot of players, it is going to be serviceable. The fact that it is going to be just, you know, if you do want that detailed information being logs, it's an annoying hurdle. I think a lot of the players that do want that information will go through the hurdle. It sucks, but I don't think it's going to be necessary for a fairly decent portion of the player base to need logs. So I guess at least maybe the way that Blizzard is looking at it is for high-end players that do want that nitty-gritty detailed info, there is logs, so there is still a way of going about it. And for them, it's probably good enough. It sucks that we don't have details. It sucks that we can't get more info, but it's better than nothing. It's better than not having access to the info whatsoever.
Yeah, I think that's something that...
I kind of just accepted that they're going to be hands-on on it, right? I don't think there's a way to wrestle control from them, so I'm assuming it from that perspective.
Yeah. I think it's really easy, and I fall into this trap too. It's so easy for me to think that everyone wants to push keys and everyone wants to, you know, min-max to the extreme because that's how I play, right? That's me. But of course, as a content creator, so often I'm reminded, whether I want to be or not, that I am in the minority for the most part. Very few people in the grand scheme of things care about running 20s. Very few people care about digging into logs and finding that 1, 2, 5% extra damage. So I feel like, you know, I can sit here and I can, you know, whine and complain about, man, I don't have weak ores anymore. I don't have details anymore. It sucks. And it does for me, but the average player doesn't care. They don't need that. They don't want that. It's just not, it's not even on their radar, you know? Lance, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say I would love to know the percentage of people who actually look at details for more than maybe just DPS or HPS. I don't think it's very high. Maybe they're in a Mythic Plus, like they're tracking interrupts, but I don't think it's very high. And I do think their damage meter that they're implementing, while bare bones right now, I'm sure their plan has got to be to get these things in there at some point, right? I'm sure. But I think it's got to be good enough for now. I think the majority of the player base, maybe they don't give a crap about that, or they don't even know to be looking for that because they're enjoying the game and I find myself now, I'm a lot more casual now. I log in for my raid. I'll do a 10 every once in a while, but for the most part, I'm the casual guy. I'm logging in. I'm not digging into my logs anymore, man. I'm not looking at details and seeing how many trinket. I just don't have the time. I'm logging in for fun, And I'm sure there was a time when I did all these things. I don't have the time anymore to really do these things.
I don't want to talk over any of you guys, so forgive me, but you just said a key word there, the key word being fun, because obviously subjective term, blah, 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 because, you know, people can make an argument, well, it's fun for me to not have to worry about, you know, add-ons and not to have to worry about blah, blah, blah. Whereas for someone like me, the fun that I derive from the game is that high level optimization, pushing keys, you know, finding that extra damage, making sure that I'm top performer, et cetera, et cetera. But again, that's me. Like I know I'm not ignorant to the fact that I am just one, you know, little tiny drop in the bucket. I would no, I wouldn't go that far.
Listen,
definitely not.
Not everyone can be a top dog. Okay, some people that dog's got to eat.
That's not me. That's not
Some
me.
of us are little dogs. You know, when we're in World of Warcraft, we're the little dogs. And
I'm old. I'm washed up.
Majority. No way, bro. I see your gameplay. You're killing it.
Devalin, what do you think, Devalin?
Well, it's a fun mix you have in here with all us, because I mean the highest key I've done this expansion is +5, and then a lot of people probably laugh at that and say, okay, that's not too high. And that's just the end I am in. I'm having fun. I'm playing with my guild. We just have fun in a +5, and then we go home and drink some soda. So personally, for me, having this damage meter, it's funny because I just did a post about it that, oh my god, see this new damage meter, it's amazing, it shows exactly what I need. That comment section, you don't want to go into that because it's mad. Like, people are so angry there. They're like, you don't know what you need. We need so much more. And I'm like, but it has what I need. So I for me it has what I need, because I just want to see right now, am I doing more damage than my guildmates, or am I doing less damage than my guildmates?
Yeah, I mean that's obviously a very fair take, in that when someone logs into the game, whether they're logging onto a fresh character, or the character they've been playing for 20 years, if they're not pushing keys, if they're not in heroic or mythic rating, what does it matter? Like they like you said, you have what you need, even more so in some cases. And anyway, I don't want to talk over you guys, but I don't know if anyone had any perspective on what we've been talking about here before we move on to the next question.
I think it comes back down to player agency. Whether it is something you need or don't need, it's a tool that we've had for like a while. Like, details have been around for a while. So now the expansion is gone. It's just whether it is somebody who uses that tool or not, whether it's somebody who does push high-end content or not, that player agency to look up that more detailed information that's readily available in front of you, you are removing player agency with the changes to these tools. So it is just going to be someone that Blizzard specifically, if they want to be hands-on on it, they got to take more responsibility in all these changes. And I think that player agency is what really a lot of players dislike about this whole these tools. They're not quite exactly what we used to have. So it's like, why are we getting a worse version? Right?
I mean, do you think
I
that
think
Blizzard
comes from?
I agree with you. Do you think that Blizzard can maintain? Do you think that they're in a position? Do you think that a year, a decade from now, that they're going to keep up with all of these trends and expectations and stuff that they put place on themselves?
I'm not a fortune teller. I just press roll the bones and I gamble when I play WoW. That being said, they're gonna have to, but can they do it?
I guess they have to. I mean, you just said it, right? They have to. Unless they say, you know what, never mind, you guys can have your toys, take your toys back, it's fine. Because I think they have to. They have to. If they're accepting that responsibility until they're willing to give it back, if that ever comes again, you're right. They have to. Do you think? Go ahead.
It's important to look at like intention, right? The intention is to definitely eventually get it there, right? And I hope so. And Dowie, you're right. Agency is important, because while maybe I don't, or other players maybe don't want to look at every single little thing, you don't want players who do want to look at that to not have it. Because now I'm selfish, right? Because I don't want to play at the highest level. I got to make your game worse. I don't want that either. I think the hope would be for Midnight is get it into a serviceable spot so that it's workable. And listen, season 1's going to be tough, maybe.
Maybe.
Season 1 might be tough, boys. And I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller either. Maybe it's tough. I think I heard on one of the other shows, like season 2 is probably going to be the juice.
Yeah, that's what I can't remember who said it, but you're right. I think it was the last episode. But I want to circle back to something you just said, Lance. Is serviceable enough? Like is it okay that we kind of are being forced to accept things just the way that they are, like in the state that it's going to launch? I mean, it's okay. Like we have to. We don't have much. We don't have a choice. But is that okay?
Depends on who you're asking.
Sure.
For someone like me and maybe Davlin, I would say we're gonna be all right. We're gonna enjoy it, man. Someone like Dow, maybe he's gonna suffer a little bit season 1 and until they get everything fixed. But I for me, it's exciting that they're trying. They're trying. Like let's try to take back control. Let's try to shape this game in a different way. And you know what? The same old maybe is not good enough. And some of the complaints I've heard about the War Within is like, it's Dragonflight 2.0. It's very safe. Like, yeah, it's a fine expansion, but it's not. There's nothing groundbreaking to it.
Yeah, I would say the War Within for me is a very forgettable experience. I don't want to get. I haven't hated it. I'm not. I'm obviously logging in. I'm engaged. I'm making a daggum podcast, but for me, it's just been very forgettable. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
I've loved every second of it, but
How dare
my
you.
community is insane. Our community has been amazing. I love what we've got going on, and they've definitely made it much better than maybe the expansion itself is. But yeah, I think it's a very safe expansion, right?
Does anyone else want to touch on that or push back on that?
I felt that way about Dragonflight as a safe expansion. That one just felt like forgettable. But War Within, I think, has been, for me at least, a better experience. Maybe like season 1 for Mythic Plus was a little odd because there's just not enough tanks, but season 2 was a banger. Season 2 was pretty enjoyable. But yeah, the only reason I'm not logging into War Within now is because, the beta outlet just plays much better. And at least I prefer it. The BFA version or closer to BFA version, super nice. But I don't think for me War Within was that bad, but I could see why somebody would say it. I think that WoW definitely has had lower points. Warlords of Draenor. That's another one actually, Lance. So
How dare you?
Come on, man. Come on.
Do you have any idea?
The
Listen,
most-
marksmanship, 4-piece, HFC. There's
Yeah,
not that
Outlaw wasn't a
literally
thing then, bro. You got to cut him some slack. He had to play combat.
unbelievable. I can't believe you
Sure,
just
let's
said
make
that.
combat. But that was an
Lord.
expansion where, if it wasn't for my community at the time doing the 5.1 doses we did as regulars, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, hanging around in Trash Ran and New Garrison. Yeah. Although if you ask my GM about it, he thought WoD was the best because raids were some of the best out there. So he'll fight me for it.
Well, WoD is definitely one of those expansions to where it suffers from the fact that we were 14 months we were stuck in HFC, so it left a lot of, and rightfully so, it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. I want to ask the $1 million question, but before I move on, did anyone want to touch on anything that was just discussed?
I just want to leave a comment quick. I think for me, the War Within has probably been my favorite expansion. I've played since 2003, 4, when they had the beta of vanilla. And I know a lot of people would say Ravage King is the best one, the Burning Crusade is the best one, and, the typical one. But I think this one for me has been the best one. And again, I think also, as you said, like, it depends on the community you had. Like, I had a great community this year, so it was fun. But I just feel like this expansion has been so... Again, here comes the casual guy. It's been so casual friendly. It's been so like there's something for everyone. There's delves, there's dungeons, there's PvP, there's solo rated battlegrounds. That's something I've been yelled about for 10 years. I just wanted that thing, and now I have what I need. So for me, I feel like this is a good one.
I think that's a fantastic point. Is for you, it's been a great experience because of all these things you just said. And again, it just reminds me, and it reminds all of us the fact that we're all playing the same game, but man, we're playing it so differently in a lot of cases. We're all logging in for different reasons, different people, different whatever. And I look at the War Within, and man, I have not been a fan of dungeon design. I have not raided this entire expansion. I've taken a big break from raiding, so I haven't been involved in that aspect of the game. I'm getting back into raiding with Midnight. Very excited about that. Whereas for someone like you, Devalin, it's one of those things to where you're able to make guides on a tool that is hugely helpful for so many people. You just said you had a great time with a great community this past year and a half. I mean, that stuff definitely makes a difference. And so I get where you're coming from is all I'm trying to say, of course.
Actually, I did want to bring up one thing. Delves for the win, man.
Oh, yeah.
I got full-time job, come home to a baby, but I could still log in 20 minutes, do a tier 11 real quick, and I'm still ready to do my heroic raid every week. And listen, I'm not the best player, but I can keep up still. I can keep up because of Delves. Also, Warband's insane.
Yeah, you're not the best player. I mean, none of us are, of course, but you're still playing. You're still finding purpose, and that's fantastic. Like, I know for me, I only interact with Delves for the first, few weeks, just for PB, just for gearing purposes, and then for me, I haven't touched a Delve in months now. But I love the fact that they exist. I love the fact that there are areas and there are tools in this game that, even though I rarely, if ever, interact with them, they serve a purpose, and they're so meaningful and purposeful, not to overuse the word. I love that. That's fantastic. So yeah, hat off to Blizzard for improving the game in these ways to improve people's experiences and giving people that reason to log in, that reason to connect and whatnot. Anyway, sorry, I've been monologuing a lot more this episode, so forgive me. But did you guys want to touch on anything else before I shift gears?
I enjoy the monologue, buddy. So
Yeah,
monologue it up,
more of
dude.
it.
All right, $1 million question here real quick. We've been talking about add-ons. We had this little tangent for the past few minutes about accessibility and why we're logging in for different reasons and blah blah blah. But how do all of these changes in Midnight, combat add-ons especially, how does this actually improve someone's gameplay or their approach to the game? Like, how does it make a player actually better at the game, or is that even the goal? To make people better, or is the goal just to get people involved?
I think that's going to once again go back to who you ask, right? It might help some people who don't have add-ons and who don't use them because they either don't know about them or they just refuse to. Sure, I guess at a base level they're going to become better.
Are they? Like, that's a genuine question. Like, are they going to become better?
I mean, if they're not using add-ons and they already don't rely on them, and at least there's not going to be a learning curve or a change for them. So maybe not better, but at least they won't suffer as much in season 1. I don't know as everyone else. But for someone, and even in my guild, yeah, there's going to be people who probably rely on add-ons a ton who are going to suffer. I don't know if they're going to be made better for it, but it's going to be, or at least the hope is that they change the way they're designing this thing. Right? I don't know how much they're doing that in season 1. Like, I've done some of these Mythic Plus dungeons. I guess a little bit, it seems. I think maybe they should. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know if they're at where they should be just yet, but I would hope it helps people who aren't using add-ons already get a little bit better. If it's not going to help them, I don't know who it would help, right?
Yeah. Dal, what do you think?
It's a hard question, but I thought about it a lot, and I don't know if the combat add-ons and the addition of them by themselves in a vacuum. I don't think by themselves they're not just going to be like just the thing that makes raises the skill floor by itself. I think it's when you take a look at the entirety that is Midnight and how they're changing the game, from the streamlining of classes, the changing of the mechanics within dungeons and raids, so there's a bit of pacing, so you don't need to rely on add-ons to be able to play your class optimally and to be able to interact with the mechanics and do them correctly. And then you add the add-ons, the in-game add-ons on top of it. I think together they help, but by themselves, the add-ons, it's just a way for you just to get more information. By themselves, no, but as like a whole package of what is happening in Midnight, yes, they're a part of the solution in a sense.
Valen, do you have any perspective on the question?
I always look back at my dad, who plays WoW in a year. Well, he's 65 or something around that. He's a clicker. He uses his mouse to click his spells and so on. So the moment he got the single button assistant, his damage increased by 200%. And by giving him all these enhancements in the game itself, it will now allow him to join me on raids, probably because it will tell him stand out of the fire. Where before he needed, of course, an add-on fight, which I know he wasn't a fan of. So I always look at people like him who clicks and who doesn't use add-ons and so on. I feel like we're taking them and putting them here up now, where of course you have me, now you have the casual players, you have Dell up over here, but still it's like we are lowering all the clickers, all the gamer dads and moms, we're getting them up to like a higher standard. So now we can actually bring everyone into a normal raid without fearing that they won't do enough damage. Yes. If they do too little damage, tell them to use the single button system.
Yeah, so your position, just to make sure I'm understanding, raising the baseline, which is a good thing, makes introduces more people into the PvE community, low level Mythic Plus, normal raids, Mythic Zeros, whatever it is, giving them an opportunity to acclimate, get comfortable, get familiar with it, and maybe that encourages a percentage of those players to progress beyond that, mid-level, plus fives up to plus 10s, maybe heroic rating. In other words, if these changes are done well and received well, if Blizzard's implementation is on point, we could see an influx in people in the PvE scene, the PvE community, correct?
Yep. And on top of that, they're also adding training grounds, which helps people to get into PvP now.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, just to kind of, go back to what we were saying a little while ago, I think that it would be a huge benefit and a boon to all of us to have more people to play with. More people in the Mythic Plus queue. I mean, sorry, DPS, I know I've already waited 40 minutes in a queue for Mythic Plus, but I think that, the more people involved, the healthier the environment is, the more people that raid, the better off it's going to be, et cetera, et cetera. And, not everyone needs to be or aspire to be a Mythic Raider or Mythic plus 15, plus 20 runner, but I love seeing people find new things to be excited about, is ultimately what it boils down to for me. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about in that regard?
I would just say, I mean, yeah, anytime you could raise the skill floor, that's going to be good. I mean, I'm sure... Especially you all pushing the higher content. Sometimes, someone sneaks into that group of yours that maybe doesn't belong there. And being able to raise that floor so it doesn't hurt as much when they end up there is probably going to help you too.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
I agree. I think that, yeah, anytime that people can naturally, comfortably, I mean, it doesn't always have to be comfortable, but for most people, if it's a comfortable transition to improve at that's a good thing. Real quick, I just want to make sure anyone else want to touch anything before we move on. All right, cool. So the second poll today asked the question, when it comes to combat add-ons, what we've been talking about, Blizzard should, and the top answer was strictly limit their powers. So half the people who responded to this poll said that too strong, get them out of here, don't want them anymore. Let the record state, I didn't vote for that, but that's okay. No, again, I know we touched on weak auras a little bit there. I get it. I can admit that weak auras is an extremely strong tool. A Fractalus being the primary example. We talked about it earlier. Everyone always brings it up. Would you guys agree that combat add-ons limiting their power is a good thing?
Hell yeah.
If the content is designed where you don't need add-ons, then yes. But if they're gonna have fights like Ovinax, I don't know how you're gonna do Ovinax again without a weak aura. That was a weak aura boss. It was painful. It was awful. So as long as there's no more Ovinaxes, that's fine by me. What's the last time they've done a boss where they essentially just had like an in-game mechanical weak aura that auto-assigned a player? I think it was in Shadowlands. It was the Fade Scribe. The door's open guy. You know that guy? The Sylvanas raid. that was the like there was a mechanic where you had to run to this circle and you had to do this like other like beam line thing to get the runes aligned or whatever, but you had to run to the circle to soak. Everybody that got marked by that mechanic, your circle was larger and you had an extra mechanical, but you had to let you know that you are being marked. It was the one time they actually added a mechanic that auto assigned players to like go soak circle. They need to do more of that. But if you're going to make more fights like Ovinax, where players are getting marked and you need a weak aura to assign people because you only have 3 seconds to respond, otherwise you wipe the entire raid. The less Ovinaxes, more Fate Skies, please. That's the way they had to go about it.
Great point, and I want to say thank you for explaining that fight to maybe people who bowed out of Shadowlands, and didn't stay for Sanctum. So thank you for that. But I also want to say I want to bring up like it goes back to intent on Blizzard's part, right? I guess the intent would be, yeah, let's not, if we're gonna strip these things back, the intent should be, let's not make a Brood Twister again, right? Or let's try not to make a Fractalus or these bosses where it's like, okay, yeah, this boss is trivial if you just make a weak aura and boom, and if you don't have it now, it's infinitely harder. Yeah, I hope the intent is that. And if they do that, great. I think everyone, not everyone, but people should be happy for the most part, right? But if they keep making bosses like that, yeah, you're just gonna have people who are kicking and screaming like, why'd you take this away and now you're still designing the game like this? You can't do that. Something's got to give. So intent, I think, is important, and I would hope that would be the intent, is what I would say.
Have you done any raid testing, Dal, specifically?
A little, yeah.
I believe, and somebody can fact check me on this, but I'm pulling this from memory. I don't have this in my notes, but I believe the Wowhead Rogue Guide Writer Whisper, I think that's correct. He made a video on his YouTube channel recently that was some, again, I'm pulling this from memory, so I'm paraphrasing, kind of piecemealing this together in my brain, but I think he made a video with something along the lines of, things are feeling pretty easy in the raiding scene right now with all the testing we've done. Tuning aside, like mechanically speaking, things are feeling pretty easy. And I say that, to kind of tack on to what you guys have been talking about. Would you agree with that, Dal, that things are feeling a little bit, by design, but intentionally, because we don't have these weak auras and stuff like that? Has that been your experience?
For my testing, it does feel a lot of the fights do feel a little bit more intuitive. Like seeing the mechanics and seeing the pacing, it does feel like they give you time to react. They're also starting to do a lot better at this whole thing where, let's say there's like a soak circle around a tank. The graphic for that is now becoming a little bit more copy pasted across different encounters. So when you see that type of graphic, you're like, I gotta soak that. It's, so your brain is starting to visually identify things a bit better. It is a little better, I'd say. It is better. And have you seen like the people doing like that Naru boss that we weren't supposed to test for?
Yeah.
The floating one. And there's like there was like a bunch of symbols that popped up, and then people had to line up, and then it did the beam. I mean, that looks sick as hell.
Yeah.
Right. So it does seem like there are making things a bit more intuitively, like you could see what's happening and more or less figure out what needs to be done in order to deal with the mechanic or beat a boss. It does feel better.
So I'm definitely in the category that stepped away from Shadowlands. Lance, that you mentioned that a moment ago. I stepped away after Castle Nathria. Sorry, team. So this is my first time raiding since Castle Nathria. I'm genuinely excited for it. I say that to say to the audience listening, if you are interested in getting back into WoW, into the PvE scene, raiding, whatever, I genuinely, even though I'm the guy that says, oh man, I want weak auras, I genuinely think that Midnight is a good time to get either plugged back in or to plug in the very first time if you haven't done it before. I think that with these changes, especially if you've taken a break or you don't have prior experience, it's a good time to be like, okay, baseline is set like we've discussed. Mechanically speaking, it's not the hardest it's ever been. And you can ramp up throughout the expansion, assuming that's the direction they take, with each season getting maybe a little bit harder, a little bit more complicated, you'll be able to ramp up or just, continue doing casual stuff. That's fine too. But yeah, I'd say right now is a good time to get back into the game if you've taken a break like me. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Part of an expansion's always a great time, right?
That's true, man. I love
true.
that reset. Oh, the wiping the slate clean. Everyone's on level footing. You know, normal dungeons, heroic dungeons, mythic zeros. Like I love that. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's the my favorite thing in all of gaming. It also gives, guys like me a thought in the head like this is the expansion that's going to be different. I'm doing it. This is the one where I'm going cutting edge. And then 2 weeks in, I realized, I don't got the time.
Listen, hey, shout out to I'm trialing with a guild called Unbalanced on Tichondria. So 2 nights a week, man. I'm not putting pressure on you, Lance. I'm just saying there are options out there if you don't want to raid. They raid 6 hours total a week. I'm just saying. Shout out to Unbalanced.
Thankfully, my guild, we're gonna have a 2-night-a-week schedule too for our prog team in our guild as well. So we'll see if I make the cut in my own guild.
You'll be fine. Don't worry. Oh, we did have one viewer question coming from Tutor Doots. What's up, Tutor Doots? Tutor Doots asks, the one button rotation has made the game more enjoyable on my alts. I couldn't care less to learn my rotation on my 8th alt doing a weekly 10. Is the one button rotation where it needs to be penalty wise? Or is it too strong at the level that makes it so that they want to use it to have the option? In other words, is the GCD penalty the way that it's currently designed fine? Is it too strong? It doesn't need to be even worse. What do you guys think?
I think it's fine where it's at. I don't think it needs to be adjusted too much.
I don't play with the one button rotation that much, so I'm wondering if Valen would have a more of an informed take.
Well, see, it's one of the funny things I've tested on the beta to see how much does it deal damage against the assisted highlight and the single button assistant, and the difference between, for example, on Arcane Mage using assisted highlight, where basically you just use your rotation after what it highlights, and using single button rotation was 12.9 DPS difference, but that's standing still on a dummy for 5 minutes, just doing the rotation. So it's like is that enough or not? I mean, again, the assisted highlight doesn't even play as good as, for example, Dell, you would play. You would probably still play better than assisted highlight is suggesting, because that's still me clicking whatever is glowing, kind of like playing Guitar Hero. So, I mean, I guess in reality, it's always going to deal 20%. It's one of those funny things. It deals 20% less damage than someone who's really good at really good at the class. But if you play against someone who thinks they're good but actually are not good, you might even deal more damage than them. And I feel like that's okay.
No, I love seeing people perform with the rotation tool because just of course, from numerically speaking, you can't outperform somebody who really does, like you said, who actually knows what they're doing. You cannot outperform them because there is a limitation, a restriction that's there by default. But being able to, like this person said, Tutor Dudes, jumping on an alt, learning how to play something, perhaps you just don't care, and that's fine too. Love it. I love seeing people be able to do something comfortably without feeling stressed about it when it shouldn't be a stressful thing at that, that entry level, that mid level, whatever you want to call it. You're not racing. It's not race to world first, out there for most people, we're gonna go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as long as, because like the whole one button rotation or even assisted highlight, I think it's always going to be a bit of like a topic in the community, right? Like how strong should it be compared to a player that actually mastered their class and knows it super, super well? Because like if you could just take the one button rotation and, take it to world first, that's a little silly, right? So again, it's going to be down on Blizzard to balance it, but I don't think anyone has an idea, any issue really of like the button offering more accessibility. But man, I guess I'm just like been thinking about it. It's like how much limitations should it really have? It should have some, but I'm wondering if I'm just wondering if they're gonna, because like the streamlining classes, they're making classes a little bit easier, a little bit more approachable. So I'm assuming the button is gonna get better naturally. And I'm wondering if they're gonna end up like looking at it themselves and being like, maybe we should nerf it some more. Maybe we should incur a bigger GCD thing on it, right? I feel like it's, again, in their control to figure it out, and I don't have like an answer how they should go about it. I'm just wondering if they'll like I wouldn't be surprised if they end up somehow nerfing it artificially
Mm.
in Midnight, one way or another.
I did a build for the single button assistant for every DPS class in the game, and some specs really did well with it, and some specs like Fire Mage was just horrible because it used like 3 Fire Blast in row, where you're like, what are you doing? And the Survival Hunter didn't work at all. Like that just didn't work at all. So some specs really was like almost sometimes 11% less than someone who maybe would be good, but then you have Survival Hunter who would deal 30% less. And I agree. If we get to the point where, especially with Midnight, because as you said, the rotation is going to be so smoother now, it's probably going to be able now to play Fire Mage finally. And yeah, but I mean, also with this, well, who knows if the game is ever going to come on console? Then I guess this button is going to be the prime button for console players.
Very possible.
You know what? One of my favorite things to do is I have a Steam Deck. Shout out to Druish, one of my mods who is letting me borrow it. ... But I have a Steam Deck. WoW's installed. Literally just on an alt, I can just load it up, and if I want to go questing, if I want to do this, that, or the other, just hold down a button, and I can just cruise through. Don't have to think about it. Now, some people may say to themselves, "Well, that's dumb. You're just not." But you know what? Sometimes I like sitting down next to my wife, popping on, a show on Netflix or, Amazon Prime or whatever the case may be, and just hanging out with her without having to pay attention to exactly what I'm doing in game while I'm leveling an alt. I've leveled alts 1,000 times before. Let me enjoy a show with my wife. Little one button rotation. I love it. I said what I said. I'm unapologetic. It is what it is.
Yo, big Steam Deck unite.
Yeah.
I don't one button rotation in on the Steam Deck, but my wife just got me one for our
Yeah.
anniversary.
There you go.
It has been pretty sick to be able to play it in bed.
I love it, man.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Well, I want to jump to the next topic if you guys are okay with that. I don't want to cut anyone off. All right, cool. I want to jump right into Lindormi's guidance. All right, for those of you that don't know, Lindormi's guidance hit beta a few days ago. To explain it briefly, when you join a +2, 3, 4, or 5 on beta right now, mobs will be highlighted like a little golden color with a little golden circle under their feet. And as the tank, in pretty much all cases, of course, as long as you pull every mob in the dungeon that has that golden highlight, you will reach your enemy force count, your 100% to finish the dungeon. I want to know what you guys think about this. Is this meaningfully helping players learn dungeons? Is this delaying difficulty, just putting it off until you hit +6 and beyond? Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Man, somebody take the floor, please go.
I mean, I've been seeing the discussion back and forth on this, and everybody has an opinion, right? Is this the yellow paint mechanic? Is this the yellow paint that you see on other games, but as a WoW affix? In a sense, yes. But I don't think it has to be like the worst thing in the world either. The way I see it is Blizzard initially, I guess, since at least War Within, maybe previous expansion, saw Mythic Zeros as like, this is the place where you go to ideally learn your dungeons. See what enemies do, see what kind of routes you can make, see what hits hard, see what you should be avoiding, and also learn what the bosses do. It has no timer. It is tuned to be the old +10 difficulty from back in the day when they made Mythic Plus. It's not meant to be super challenging, but challenging enough where like you go in there to learn what the dungeons are like. And then you would take that knowledge into keystones and work up through the levels. The problem is most players skip Mythic Zero. And most players are doing like +2s, +3s, and they're so easy. You don't actually pay attention to, oh, this mechanic is going to kill me. Oh, this strat spec has too many like casters. That's way too dangerous. That's going to reduce time. Nothing in lower keys really challenges you until you're getting into the +6, +7, 8, 9, maybe 10 category. And then you're like, oh, I'm getting trucked. Now you're having to learn how the key is going. And imagine being a tank, right? It's even more pressure because it's like, what do you do, tank? What was the route? I didn't know the route. I was just doing +2s, +3s, and we just beelined it. We held W key and moved forward. I have no idea. It's a lot of pressure on the player as well. So I think this is, while not an all-in, like, guaranteed solution to fix routing, but it's at least a way to give players like a pathway, a golden brick road to follow as you get in through the key. And from my testing is it generally tries to avoid like some of the tougher trash packs where you'll have like you'll have you pull like smaller mobs instead of too big elites that have a bunch of mechanics going on. So and at least will give you a pathway to get full percentage as you get all the bosses and the enemy count. And I think it's better than nothing, right? It's a way to naturally encourage players to want to hit those mobs with the debuff because they have less health and they do less damage. Why would you pull anything else outside of it? It naturally would get players at least going by their route, and through practice and repetition, it at least establishes a route that will function fine in a +10 or around that level. From there, there's an opportunity for players to use other resources to learn a route, especially because it's a very much a tank specific type of like responsibility. It just has become a tank heavy responsibility ever since Mythic Plus have been added as a system. And for like a new tank, you have no idea where to go. At least this Golden Brick Road, this yellow paint affix tells you more or less a serviceable route that will work for like your weekly keys. But outside of that, like without it, you're kind of just like floundering until you have to go out of your way to look up external guides, read guides, look at routes on Radar.io, like in terms of like replays, or look at people's logs and see what the routes are looking like. And as a tank, as a brand new player, just jumping into Midnight, right? You're like, all right, time for me to actually play WoW. People are saying this is the most approachable expansion. Imagine if you were just like, wait, I have to tank mobs and crowd control, and I have to plan a route for dungeons I've never done before.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So this is at least like a natural way for players to experience the routes instead of like sitting down and reading the guide. It is something that you're seeing in game, in visually through repetition. It's almost like establishing a muscle memory of how you'd run that dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's serviceable, at least bare bones, like starting point. And for players that are, let's say, are like, oh, why would I ever use this? I do keys. I've done Algothor back at Dragonflight. I know more or less what it is. When you're getting into +10, you'd want to make sure, like we talked about raising the skill floor a little, you want to make sure your tank, your healer, and the DPS in your group at least more or less are competent to complete the key. And I think this affix would help at least the tanks, but also to some degree everybody else in a group to some degree have at least a bare bone route to follow, which does help raise the competency to make sure that your dungeon groups more than likely, hopefully, will have at least some idea of how you run the dungeon because they played through it and they had that golden trail to follow.
I saw a lot of head nodding throughout that. Do you guys have any other perspectives that you want to bring to the table?
You want to go, or should I go first? I'm going to be respectful if you want to go.
No, okay. I just have one quick thing because, like I said before, I have done maximum +5, 6 keys or something like that, and the same with my guild. We are very casual people who likes to do only the normal raid. We do it like 10, 20 times. We have fun. We also do Mythic Plus 1 to 5. And I think this is going to be great because none of us likes to go on YouTube and find out what route we have to go. So this is something that is going to make it more fun for us just to jump into and be like, I hope at least they have like marked it the right path that you, of course someone is going to make a better path, maybe, but it will probably. But at least for casuals like me, it's nice that we can go in and be like, we should go that way.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Before I monologue again, Lance, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, and I keep bringing this up, but I want to go back to like, what's the intent right now? I'm assuming the intent would be, how do we get more tanks to queue? Right? Because that's the biggest thing. And I know for a fact from my guild, from YouTube comments, people are stressed out about even the thought of tanking. They're like, I would like to tank, but I have to, as Dal said, I have to.
It's a lot.
I have to tank, I have to CC, and then I have to plan a route. With the biggest one being, I have to lead and plan a route. That's nerve-wracking for even me, and I've tanked.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you, which, by the way, is an add-on for most people. Mythic Dungeon Tools, MDT. I just wanted, that's another layer to it, right? Is they have to download an add-on because how are you going to know what to pull? Because, by the way, percentages are not tracked in game. You just got to figure it out and learn it without something like MDT. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
No, and you're exactly right. And it was gonna go back to my point. But these people who are just starting tanking, they're not gonna know that. They're not gonna have that, and they're not gonna look up a route before because they don't even know but I have to invest in looking up routes before I even know if I like this thing. Yeah, that's kind of, it's when you think about it, it's like, yeah, that's a lot to put on someone who's never done it, who's never tried it. I don't even want to do it. I don't want to tank because I don't want to deal with the responsibility. So like imagine you have to get these new people in. Okay, great. Now the intent here is maybe some people will dip their toes. Hey guys, let's put in this +3 key. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna hit these yellow painted mobs. And let's go through this journey together. If I suck, well, it's a 3. Who cares? You guys will carry me. I'm sure your DPS is fine. And they have less health. But let's go down it. And then if it's interesting, great. Let's go up to a 6 or 7. And like Dal said, you'll get the muscle memory of, okay, I know when we were doing these 2, 3s, and 5s or whatever it is, if I kill this mob, into this mob, into this mob, into this mob, we'll get our percent. Yeah, maybe you get it. I don't know. You're not going to get a million new tanks, obviously, but you get a few more tanks in the group finder. That helps everyone. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, I think
what's the fix for healers next?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I do think that this affix is definitely beneficial. I think it's, a step in the right direction for encouraging people to jump into that role, whether it be the role of tank, the role of polar, the role of router, and so on and so forth. I think that for people like Devalin, and this is not a, us versus them thing. This is just a good for them scenario to where it's just one less thing, or in this case, it's a huge thing that they just don't have to worry about anymore. You just pull what's highlighted. It takes the burden off. It takes a lot of the stress out of the equation, and that's a good thing. If someone decides to move beyond a +5, cool. There's 1,000 videos and 1,000 different ways to learn routes and learn, better cooldown management and pull patterns and stuff like that. And if no one ever progresses past the +5, no big deal. Anyone who naturally is beyond that level is not there's no drawback in my mind, because no one's being pulled away from their +12s or +15s to go run +5s. Like that's not going to happen, obviously, unless someone just wants to play an alt on any given day. I think it's great. I'm a big fan of it. I liked doing it. I tested a dungeon on beta with it, and it was easy and not in a bad way.
Yeah, and I think that onboarding is good, and if people enjoy it, then they will seek out the knowledge. At least going back to intent is they'd seek out the knowledge to learn more, to become better if they end up liking tanking.
Yeah.
And if anyone's tanked, it could be addicting to become the leader of the group, right? A lot of tanks, it's like they start tanking and, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I get to tank. I get to be the guy who's calling the shots. There's like an addicting thing there, like that play style and that play loop. So I think it's awesome.
I also think it's a feature that could also be expanded upon. Like we're thinking of it from perspective of like a +2, +5, right, to help players learn the routes. But what if this was a feature available at like higher keys, not automatically marking the mobs for you, but giving you the tools in a high-end MDT? You have to mark the route. You're basically selecting which mobs you want to pull, which ones you want to avoid. You share that route with everybody else. What if there was a way for you to do that in-game? Pre-highlight the mobs without reducing their damage or healing or health or whatever, right? Without the making mobs easier, but just highlighting them so that everybody in the group can see what your route is in-game. So everybody in the group, not just the tank, can see which mobs you're looking to pull, which ones you're looking to avoid. That's a tool that could potentially be expanded.
I know some. I'm sorry, did you want to say something real quick, Lance?
No, I was going to say that would be great for people trying to push, right? Like, let's let everyone be on the same page.
Yeah.
It's good for them too.
I know some people will make the defense of, well, learning a route and knowing which mobs to pull and which packs to pull together, pulling these 2 guys with these 6 guys, like that's part of the skill progression. And I understand that position. I'm not saying that anyone who takes that position is wrong. I love the idea of being able to, like you say, pre-mark mobs, and that's kind of the argument is, well, that's why you have MDT. You can share a route and you can see this is pull 1, this is pull 2. I get it. I see both sides, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't think that I think it would do more good than harm to have something like that in the game. I would personally like it. But I can see the argument on both sides in that. I suppose.
The benefits would be to take a lot of the responsibility off of the tank, where the rest of the group can see what the route looks like, right?
Yeah.
So it's not on the tank to remember it. You could just see it pre-highlighted as you're doing the dungeon. That would be a big benefit for tanks specifically. I imagine more tanks would be able to play instead of doing mobs and having to look at the route, then look back at the mobs. Managing both of those things. But
go ahead. Yeah. To shift gears a little bit, did you guys see the information about the removal? I think it was all on the back end, so I don't think it was ever officially implemented. But the removal of the reward structure up to that plus 18 level. Did you see anything about that, Dow?
Yes. Can I just go to the bathroom real quick?
Yeah.
What?
Got a quick bathroom.
Yeah, get out of here. Go for it.
Too much water. My bad.
Get out of here. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Like, do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's a good thing to remove those extra incentives beyond that plus 10 going into midnight, or do you think that, well, screw you, high level dungeon runners, you get next to nothing for running high keys?
Could you explain what that is about before you talk about it to me?
Absolutely. In fact,
I have no idea what that is.
If you give me 1 second, I can actually pull up here's like an Icy Veins thread, or not thread, but Icy Veins article, Wowhead article. Let me try to find it. You can talk about it real quick while I find the official post real quick if you want, Del.
So essentially, it's when you. There we go.
So I'm just going to read the article on Wowhead here. It says about a month ago, the Mythic Plus rewards track was updated to scale all the way up to plus 18s, granting higher item level gear out of your Great Vault. So you know how there's 1 out of 6 upgrade, 2 out of 6 upgrade, etc., etc. If you ran a plus 18 in the first season of Midnight, you could have gotten a 4 out of 6. So it would save you crests during your upgrade path during the first season. Again, somebody in chat can correct me if wrong. I don't think Blizzard ever officially said, hey, this is what we're doing. It was just something that was data mined. And then this week, data mining showcased that is now gone. So at the moment, as of January 18th, okay, a month and 10 days or so before the pre-patch hits, at right now, the highest level you need to run to get the max item level out of your Great Vault is still a plus 10. So there's no incentive beyond IO at the moment to run anything past a 10 in season 1. Did I say all that correctly, Dow? If I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. I think they were actually testing it. Like, I think people could pull better gear from the Great Vault on the beta to test how the system functions. Maybe that's why we were running 15s and 18s in the beta. There were a lot of keys doing that. But yeah, that is correct. As for my take on that, I definitely think there's an appetite for players that do high-end content to get more rewards. And one of the easier way outside of like cosmetics would be better gear. That would be a reason beyond just make my numbies go up for a Mythic Plus score, and potentially title towards the tail end of a season. That would be the best way, the easiest way to like reward you for the time, the effort, for tackling difficult content. There is an appetite for stuff like this, whether it is better gear, but also could have been things like cosmetics. I'm going to do KSM and then KSL mount as well. That is a good step in the right direction. But like, what if they did like an enchant at super high M+ score, kind of like PvPers have an enchant of their own, just a cosmetic thing. Maybe a unique armor set. That's a cosmetic one. But gear would be one of the easier way to just like directly reward for the effort of tackling difficult content. I think the reduction from an 18 down to a 10 is them trying to look at it's a couple of features. It's them trying to look at the ecosystem of every type of player, from casual, mid-tier, hardcore. And I think they're looking at it for a non-hardcore player, looking at a first week of season 1 of Midnight. If your highest reward that you can get from M+ is a plus 10, that's kind of doable. You did a plus 6. You could do a plus 8, even though, maybe a couple of deaths here and there. But you think to yourself, I could probably do a plus 10 at least once a week. Maybe not time it, but at least get it down into my Great Vault, right? It's a bit more of an approachable, like, limit, right? But if you set it to an 18, I don't think a lot of those players that don't play within, like, high-end M+ers would feel that they would be like, that's doable. I feel like that would feel a little bit like a steep hill to climb. I think it's kind of like the best way. Like, I was thinking about it yesterday. Like, what is a really good way for like? I feel like it would create a situation where people probably would quit before they even get started, and it was just. It's kind of like if you got a good show or like an anime. Everybody says it's really, really good, but you're like, all right, I'll give it a go. Wait, it's 300 episodes? That's a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
even gonna get started. That's way too much commitment.
I think
So
you're
I
right.
think
Like,
it's yeah.
plus 18s. I mean, early on in any season, let alone the first season of expansion, of plus 18, that's up there, man. Like even for the best
Yeah.
players, that's up there. And
Some people would do it. Some
Yeah,
people would do it. It's an incentive.
and
It's
that's
so
the thing.
good.
Like I think Blizzard is protecting the players from themselves by not at this moment not having that as a reward. Are people still going to push keys? Yes, of course. That's the nature of high level Mythic Plus. But I think that it's probably smart, at least early on, to be like, you know what? I think plus 10s, maybe plus 12. We'll see. That I think that's definitely a healthier option. Lancer, Devalin, did you guys have any opinion on that?
You have one? Because I'm ready to go if you don't have one.
I mean, I've never done more than 6, so let's just pass it on.
Oh, as someone who will never do an 18, I think they should have it in the game. And
real quick, we're not. You were gone because you were using the restroom. We're not talking about whether the key should exist. We're talking about the reward.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
They should have that reward in the game. I saw this forum post. I think aspirational content is great. And I don't think, and I think it should be good to temper players' expectations. Why in the world does anyone think they should do an 18 in week 1 anyway? You don't need it. But it'd be cool for those people who can do 18s. Let them work towards it so they can get there. Not only that, the people who are good enough to get 18s, I feel like they deserve to be rewarded for doing so.
I mean, this I don't want to cut you off. Was that the end of your?
Oh, please go.
Well, this ties directly into our next Twitch poll, which asks the question. Hold on, wait, let me scroll up 1 second. Mythic Plus rewards should ... and the highest. I can't talk right now. 50% of people said that Mythic Plus rewards should be redesigned entirely. And so all that to say, yeah, what do you get for pushing keys right now other than score? I mean, you get the 0.1% title. You know, very, very, very few people get that, of course. But beyond that, like, what does Mythic Plus provide other than better score?
Dow, could I ask you,
Go ahead.
someone who is, a higher end player, and Brutal, you as well. Do you guys care about transmog or a title, or would you rather just better gear so you could push higher?
I like transmog. I do.
Go ahead.
I was going to say like Mage Tower, right? Back in Legion, those weapons were pretty sick. Pretty sick. A PvP, you get like the elite version of weapons, the enchant, the set. I do. Yeah, if there's something that looks sick and it's locked behind difficult content, hell, even a mount, right? I will. Yeah, I do care about those things at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I like good transmog. I like fancy mounts, but I don't pursue those things at the moment. I know for me, again, I know I'm in the minority, or rather, I assume I am. I would love to see a system to where if I push a higher key, I get stronger. And if I push a higher key, I get something really cool, other than a title. I don't care about titles. Who cares about titles? Some people do, but
yeah,
I would like to see more. And we've heard this for years and years and years. Like, what does pushing Mythic Plus get you other than bragging rights and IO score and maybe a title if you're literally the best of the best? There's just not enough. There's not a lot. People still do it, but there's not a lot of incentive there, and there's not a lot of rewards there. But I don't design the game. What do I know?
Well, and the reason I even asked that is I think most high-end players, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know if they necessarily care so much about transmog. Or they do, but they definitely want to be able to feel like they're rewarded gear-wise so they could push even higher, right? And, man, it's stopping at plus 10 where it's like, I'm not very good. I could do a plus 10 pretty easy. It's almost like laughable.
It's one of those things to where, of course, you can't infinitely reward players with better gear because then that just throws everything off with Mythic rating and even Mythic Plus itself and whatnot. So like, where does the reward, like, where do rewards come from? Like, what do you reward players with? I mean, again, we have the title, we have him out with Keystone KSM. Is that right? Keystone Master, is that what it's called?
And Legend,
That
yeah.
kind of stuff. But what else can you do? I mean, you look back at challenge modes in MOP with gear sets, the transmog like you're talking about. People love that. Why don't they continue doing that? I don't have an answer. But
Well, they should do stuff like that, but also I think what they had in that plus 18, getting what was it, 4 of 6 myth?
yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely
For
saves you a
people
lot
who
of
are able to
crests.
push it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, I don't see the problem with that, and it's not like, yeah, you're gonna save crest, but they're not getting a forever advantage over people, especially
Right.
with turbo boost, right? Once turbo boost is out, who cares? Let the people who could do it
So
aspire to that.
So all of this, and I don't want to cut anyone off. So does anyone want to chime in real quick? All right, so this does raise a larger question about how Blizzard wants people to engage with WoW long term, and not just week to week, season to season, great vault to great vault, but across the entire expansion. And like from a seasonal reset standpoint, like does that model resetting every season, does it foster engagement or does it lead to long term exhaustion? Like if you're running 18s week 1, are you still there week 20? Like, or are you taking a big break? Like where does that kick in and come into play? Does anyone have an opinion on that or a perspective?
I think breaks are healthy. And I think a lot. I know some high level players where they like being able to complete and go like breathe a sigh of relief. Okay, I did it. Like they have OCD and they got to complete their character, and then they can go on their break, and that's cool. Then you take a minute from WoW, and then when you come back, you're revitalized. You're ready to go. There are also some people who they would like their trinket from the first raid of the expansion to be good the whole way through. Depends on who you're asking, I guess. But I know when a new season starts, everyone's coming back at the start, whether they like it or not. It's fun. You're doing there, especially when there's like a preseason, you get to do your Mythic Zero World Tour or whatever it is, and everyone's hanging out, getting ready, and then you hit the ground running.
What about you, Devalin? Like how do you fit into this question and this conundrum of being exhausted after weeks and months of running the same content over and over? Does that even afflict you, or are you kind of just like, I'm good, man? I've got 1,000 things I can do from where I sit.
Yeah, I think I will go into that box saying I'm good, because I do a +5. I do some solo rated battlegrounds. Then I do a raid with the guild. Then I do some housing because now I want to build Goshai in my house. So I'm just like all over the game. So I don't care too much about one one mode. So I will do a +5 here and there, but that's all I'm gonna do.
Yeah, so OMV from Twitch chat actually brings up a good point. I want to read this live. He says the people nutty enough to get an 18 done in the early weeks are not typically the same people you need to worry about retaining. I think that's a fair point, man. People, if they're gonna push that hard, that high, that early. I mean, kind of. I think it was someone said like those people are engaged at the top of the podcast, right? Like those people are in.
Yeah.
Sure. Does Blizzard want the PvE in game to be the focus of the game, or do you think at this stage with the introduction of housing and everything else, I'm not going to list off 1,000 things, is PvE just part of the larger ecosystem at this point in time, and is that good for the game? Is that healthy for the game?
I personally think that WoW is going the same way as Minecraft and Roblox, where they're trying to make games inside the game. So now you could literally play housing and not touch anything else. Of course, if you want this specific chair, you have to kill this specific boss. But it really feels like they're going the Roblox Minecraft way, where you have so many modes in the same game. They still want you to stay in there and pay your monthly sub, but it's a bigger, like it's what you say, it's like Yeah,
Park.
it's
It's a
yeah.
it's a world. Like it's literally in this case the world of Warcraft. There are so many different, avenues you can take to reach the end game of your choosing.
Yeah, the same with Fortnite. It's a game you can play in so many ways, and now WoW is slowly getting there.
Do you think it's taken this long because WoW is such an old game and it's been set in its ways for so long, and players have been set in their ways for so long, or do you think it's just okay that it's taken this long, that it's better late than never kind of an approach?
Better late than never. Because otherwise we would have been, what is it? I remember a while back, there was only retail, there was no classic. The devs were asked, like, hey, would you ever do classic? And they said, you think you do, but you don't. Even though there was player appetite for things like that. And then eventually here we are. We have classic, we have retail. Hell, we have anniversary classic, we have Pandaria classic, right? We have retail, but then we also have multiple flavors of retail. There's the seasonal models like Plunderstorm. That's really fun. There's Remix, which I've been enjoying the hell out of. Then there's also seasonal content outside of that. I do think that they realize that just doing a seasonal thing for retail, it's exciting. New season, new class changes, a new meta, new dungeons, maybe a new affix, which not as much right now. It's just Saladeath affixes now, but previous expansions. Sometimes it's a fresh experience, and you have a season 3 like Dragonflight where a bunch of people are playing the living shit out of the game. It's a lot of fun. And then there's other seasons like what season 1 War Within, which was a little slower, a little more less lively, and then people dooming about season 2, which ended up being much, much better. But you do have to I think they realize that they have to expand on the ecosystem, because otherwise the game is just like it's just series of menus, and then the world itself is just a backdrop. And I don't think anybody started playing this game playing it like a League of Legends, like you know what I mean, menu, just queuing
Yeah.
into the next game, into the next mode. So with them adding things like warbands, so the characters are part of like a shared experience, which they're not a separate experience, that never have been. They finally recognizing it. Delves that offer more horizontal progression systems, and then building on the world systems like with Prey that they're adding at Midnight, which I think is like an extension of Delves to some degree. The collection, I mean, housing by itself just like quadrupled the collection aspect outside of just transmogs, mounts, pets, and titles if people care about it. But it seems like that they are focusing more about like the engagement aspects and giving players as many avenues to engage with the game rather than just like, here's the PvE season. See you guys next season.
I mean,
I think it's been healthy.
I would definitely agree. I mean, I think that I'm sure I've said this 4 times at this point in the podcast, but having options and having different areas that people can focus on instead of just Mythic Plus, PvP, raiding is good. It keeps people, from a business standpoint, keeps people subscribed, keeps the revenue flowing. Awesome. And then from a gameplay standpoint, not everyone wants to raid. Not everyone wants to do X, Y, and Z. Some people play this game to collect mounts. Some people play this game nowadays to build out their house. And that's fine. That's fantastic. There's no right or wrong way, of course. And so that raises the question, like, is Blizzard designing what they're doing right now with Midnight and this World Soul Saga, is that for us today? Or is that more for WoW's long-term survival, 5-10 years down the road? Is it both? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would say it's both. And I think there's something important to remember. And it's so easy to fall into your preferred end game in WoW, right? I'm sure everyone's busy. They log in. They're like, I don't want to waste time. I got to do what I got to do. And that's it. And at different like phases and chapters in my life of playing WoW, because I've been playing this game since I was like 6 years old. I don't even remember life without WoW. It's been different things for me. There's been times where even back in Kata or MOP, where the game it's been, I'm queuing BGs only all day, every day. That's it. That's my World of Warcraft, and I didn't think about anything else. There's been times where, maybe when I first got with my now wife, I had time to just do world quests, and I was just happy to be in Azeroth. And that was my game. That was my World of Warcraft. And nowadays, I log in, I do my raid, I do my delve, maybe I'll do a Mythic Plus, and that's my World of Warcraft. But the beauty of it it's always been much more than what your end game is, what his end game is, what my end game is. It's always been a lot of things, and maybe they haven't serviced like solo players so well. But I'll tell you what, it has never felt better to be a casual solo player in the game than it does now. And
Yeah.
even going into midnight, they're making it better. You guys said pray. Pray, while still leaves a little tidbit to be desired. I think they need to work on that. It's pretty cool. It's an extension of, more solo things like Delves. I think there's going to be a lot of people who love that. And that's going to be their World of Warcraft. I have people in my guild who now all they're doing is housing. That's awesome. In a long roundabout way of answering your question, they're building and they're including things now, but they're working on the future of WoW, just like they said at BlizzCon 2023, right? Like they're trying to build for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. There has never been a better time to be just, hey, I'm just gonna play the game, and whatever that winds up being, I'm okay with it. Housing, delves, questing, whatever, man. It's all good. Valen, did you have a perspective on that?
It's funny because a lot of the Twitch streamers I follow on Twitch who plays WoW, they all do housing now. It's just they all just became housing. Before they were farming raids for transmorgs and mounts. Now they just build houses. And for some reason, I actually enjoy watching that because it's like, oh, this is cozy stream with some lo-fi in the background. But I also think this comes down to Microsoft, who also owns Minecraft, and I also think it comes down to possibly the Xbox, because I mean, what wouldn't be the best thing to have like a huge MMO with 20 different modes on your local Xbox? I mean, I feel like I might have like a tinfoil hat on right now, but I have a feeling that Microsoft has something to do with this.
Yeah, I definitely think that. Of course, I'm in no position to say Microsoft is demanding X, Y, and Z out of Blizzard, but I think that everyone would agree with that. With Microsoft owning them, perhaps goals have changed, or goals will change, or perhaps focuses, their focus will change. I can't say what that will be, or if that if that does wind up being true. I don't know, but yeah, different owners, maybe different priorities. We'll see. Dal, did you want to say anything before we move on to this last section?
I mean, the only thing I could say is just repeat what's been said here. I mean, I'm just going to echo the statements that everybody has said. All these changes.
Ah, the Valen's gone.
Yeah,
we lost the Valen. No, he's back. He's back.
Sucked into the
Disappeared
void.
into the void
Metz's
there,
yeah. But yeah, they're building the game for today's players, but also long-term survival of the game to draw in more. I mean, we want more players playing WoW, right? It's healthy for the game, no matter what they get into. And them doing things like streamlining classes, disarming add-ons, even though they're controversial, I think it is also part of that whole goal of trying to create WoW for the long-term new player that comes in, right?
Yeah.
On top of all these different features that they have access to, so you can just choose what kind of WoW you want to play.
We had. Oh, go ahead.
Am I allowed to mention? Well, I already did that. Mention other games. So, for example, if I one of the things I see why it's a good thing to now think about how many add-ons we need in this game. If you go, for example, if I went to any of my favorite Elder Scrolls Online streamers and I said, "Hey, what add-ons are you using?" "Oh, well, I have this 30-page spreadsheet of add-ons I'm using to make the game actually playable." It's like, wow, okay, never mind then. And I really don't want WoW in that space. I mean, Weak Aura was one add-on, of course, but where Elder Scrolls right now is with add-ons and how many they use, it's insane.
Yeah, you're talking about the MMO, right? Not Skyrim?
Yeah, exactly. Elder Scrolls Online, where you the reason I think why you don't have cross-play between Xbox and PC right now is because PC players use 100 to 200 add-ons, and console players, they just can't use it right now.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I've never played Issa, so I didn't know that. That's wild. I think this is. Hold on, wait, real quick. Okay, the next poll question did ask the question of what keeps you logging into WoW long term. And by the way, those of you who are watching live, you can answer these by typing in the command poll but the largest response was social and community reasons. And yeah, I mean, I think we've been talking about that a lot these past few minutes. Being able to log in and do what you want to do, hanging out with your friends, your guild, or doing your community raids, whatever the case may be. I mean, I fall into the end game mastery category, and that was the second largest response. But it's an MMO, right? You hear this all the time across, you know, so many channels and so many videos and whatnot. It's an MMO. It's meant to be social. I'm not always the best at being social in an MMO. I'm very much a lone wolf, no pun intended, as a hunter. But it's an MMO. It's a social game. I don't want to keep you guys hostage. We're already at the hour 50 mark, but I do want to bring up one quick thing in this last discussion. If you have a few moments here, a survey circulated earlier this week showing Blizzard asking players about potential new specializations. Now, listen. I can't verify this, but I'm pretty sure it's real based on what the thousands of comments have been saying. Yeah,
was on a launcher.
Yeah, this is my launcher. Okay. So assuming it's real, which in this case it likely is, and for the sake of the conversation, of course, to me the interesting part isn't the list of specs, but it's what this survey tells us about how Blizzard is thinking about the game right now and the direction they may be going with it in the future. So, is this Blizzard exploring new long-term class identity, or like are they looking for safer ways to experiment without committing to the reality of building out an entirely new class with multiple specs? Like, do you think this is a healthy way to... So, say again?
I just want to... Did all of you guys take the survey?
I didn't get it. It's not on my launcher. I didn't find it.
Well, it's off now. It was up Thursday, and I took it. Anyone else here?
Might be a good idea to go over some of the different class spec ideas they had on there.
Yeah. So if you played Season of Discovery, some of it will sound familiar. Healer Mage. There was also Healer Hunter. I saw that one. Tank Shaman. What? Tank Warlock. Hello? TBC called. Hello? Tank Rogue. That was a big one. But there were, I think there was Holy DPS Paladin, Holy DPS Priest. No, I'm sorry. Paladin Support, Holy DPS Priest. I mean, I don't want to sit here and list all of them, of course, but yeah, there were some wild ideas in there. But go ahead, Lance.
From what I gathered taking it, it really felt like they threw the sod specs in there as, like, yeah, we're going to throw them in because you guys have seen these before. It really felt like they were trying to pitch new support specs. From my point of view, while taking it, it's like, oh, how do you feel about this support? How do you feel about this support? How do you feel about this? I don't know how you guys feel about AUG or how you feel about them adding more support specs, but that's the vibe I got while I was taking it. Like, they're trying to float, all right, well, we're not getting rid of AUG as a support. How do you guys feel about us throwing in, more classes or specs to balance this thing against?
I'm not sure if more support classes is good for the game. Augmentation is in a weird spot right now, from what I understand. I don't actually play it myself. It's not quite what it was when it launched in Dragonblight. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's not.
I mean, but again, do you think this is a safe way, or is this kind of just like, what's the purpose behind designing the game like this?
To see how they feel, how people feel about them adding more support. Maybe I would say it's hard. It's so hard to balance AUG when you're balancing it against nothing else of its kind. That's
fair. That's right. That's a good point.
So yeah, obviously it's going to throw a monkey wrench into everything, because if it's good, it's the most valuable spec in the game, bar none, and nothing else comes close. And then if it's bad, it's useless. If you're playing it, you're a joke, right? But if they start adding other support specs into the game, it allows them to balance around it. Maybe they add a 6-man to a dungeon group, or maybe the way you make dungeon comps changes.
That's a hot take. What is this, EverQuest?
I'm not saying...
Get out here.
No, I'm not saying what to do. I'm just saying...
What is this, EverQuest? Jeez.
By the way, EverQuest YouTube, I've never even played EverQuest. I watch so much EverQuest YouTube, it's insane. But...
You and me both, baby. You and me both.
It's so hard. Like, how do you balance AUG when there's nothing else to balance it around? If you had these other specs, who knows, maybe you keep it 5-man dungeon, but now it's 2 DPS, a support, healer, tank. right? I'd be interested to see what a WoW with more support looks like.
What do you think, Devalen?
Well, I like the idea of them adding actually new specs because, I mean, we still have, for example, we had Demon Hunter, but only it was 2 specs, right? Yeah, it was only 2 specs, and now it's 3. And I feel like, we have Druid with 4. Why can't the others have 4? Like Hunters, they need the Bard. We need a Bard in the game, which could also be a support class. So I feel like this is the right take to like add more specs into the game and not new classes. Even though I know some people would like new classes, but that would just add more transmogs they had to create for all the classes and so on, so on. But personally, I've never played augmentation. I'm really scared of even thinking about that one.
Did you say the magic word bard? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I have been praying for a bard in the games like so long time.
You want it to be a hunter spec?
We just keep talking about EverQuest. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. That's what I
By the way,
mained
if
in
they made
EverQuest.
Bard, I'm maining Bard no matter what if it comes out.
Holy moly!
But I wouldn't want it as a hunter spec.
I mean, what do you think, Dal? What do you think, Dal? And from a high level position.
I mean, I like the idea of them potentially adding new specs, if not a brand new class to the game. I think the classes we have right now, there's a lot of different fantasies that could still be fulfilled with more playstyle options. Plus, you'll be given like some of the specs that are purely DPS, like a hunter or rogue, another role to dive into. So when it comes to group, LFG, finding groups for things, there's at least a little bit of flexibility there. And I don't think having classes given more flexibility is bad. Plus, I mean, Blizzard, when it comes to designing, made Evoker, cool new playstyles, and then they made a buff spec, and they've never done it before. I love the fact that they're trying to be creative. I like the fact that they're trying new things. Anytime they come up with a new class, like whole roster of classic classes, and then you drop a Death Knight, and it fits that Arthas fantasy. It is powerful. Some people would say at the time was too powerful, but it was really, really good. Demon Hunter in Legion, it is so fast-paced. It feels like you're playing an action game rather than WoW tap targeting type of game, right?
Yeah.
They're doing something different, something new, and AUG was a really, really wild one. I do agree. It being the only support spec, it's so impossible to balance it. And somebody in chat says, Carbon, I think, said they are terrible at balancing this thing. Ever since I dropped it, it's been better until they just had to rip its wings off for one season and more with it, just so they could be variety. Like they had to go so heavy with nerves, just so there was more flexibility in types of comps you could play M+. It's crazy. So maybe they add more support specs in, more specs for other classes. There's a lot of fantasy that they could fulfill and expand upon, because I think classes in WoW are really, really cool, but there's all these different archetypes or whatever that you can create out of it. And I feel like they have creativity behind them between Devourer, Demon Hunter, and Aug Evoker, and all the other classes they created. I still feel like there's a lot of creative room to grow what we know is a hunter, a mage, a rogue, or a warlock. And plus, SOD did it pretty good. SOD did it pretty good. If anybody played SOD, a tank Demon Hunter was sick. Of course, they're the ones that have metamorphosis, right? You can't give them back metamorphosis, I don't think, but...
You said tank Demon Hunter, but you mean tank Warlock, correct?
Oh, yeah, tank, yeah, tank
just,
Warlock,
just making sure,
Warlock.
yeah. Dude, I mean,
Look, ever since they ripped away meta from them, when I see meta, I think Demon Hunter, but yeah, no, tank Warlock. The original spec that should have probably kept meta.
I was, I've been playing WoW a long time like you guys have. I think you started in TBC, Lance, is that what you said?
Yeah.
So I was raiding in TBC with my guild Static at the time, playing a warrior named Brutal, hence the Brutal Static name. And I remember, King Malgar, you had, I think it was a Frost, not Frost tank, a Mage tank, and then you had Kael'thas that had a Warlock tank. And like the people in your raid, the Warlocks would tank a mob, Mage would tank a mob. I loved that back in the day, and of course we lost that after a certain point in time. We used to have people who would kite mobs, like DKs would kite mobs during Kata, stuff like that. Brewmaster monks kiting mobs on, Garrosh back in the day, kiting Iron Stars. I miss that kind of flavor. So that's kind of a roundabout way for me to say that if they could introduce specializations to the game, whether it's a support or something that does something unique like that, they take on a unique role, I would love to see that back in the game. One of the things, and I have this in the notes here, one of the things that I saw when I was researching this question, people mentioning things like Hunter, Mage, Rogue, Warlock feeling archaic in a way because all they do is DPS. If you go to Icy Veins or Wowhead and you look up their article about this, you'll see that they have a snapshot, an image of raid frames where Hunter has a healer icon, the role icon on the raid frame. So they're speculating that some of this may have already been internally tested because healing Hunter was on the survey. So anyway, all that to say, I love the idea of breaking the mold and just, throwing caution in the wind and going for it. But of course, there's the argument of design bandwidth and can Blizzard balance it properly? And is there really room in the game for this stuff? I don't know, but it gets me excited. I like talking about it. So anyway, you guys want to throw any final thoughts in there before we get out of here?
I'm just calling it. That Hunter healer spec you saw there is the bard.
Dude, if Bard is on Hunter, I'll never not play Hunter at that point in time. Like, that'd be amazing. God.
Would Bard have to be a healer and not a support, though?
I don't know. They play so many different roles across so many games. I don't want to.
I told so many people I would play Bard no matter what, but I don't want to heal, guys. That's crazy.
Well, if it's anything like Og, it'll be one thing one season and another thing the next season. So who knows, buddy? Any other final thoughts before we get out of here?
This has been awesome, guys.
You guys have been awesome. The last actually, there, in all fairness, out of respect to the housing people, there were two other questions on the poll. The first question is, when it comes to class design, Blizzard should prioritize, and the biggest response was expanding existing classes. That's what we've just been talking about, of course. And the last question was, housing will be successful if Blizzard supports it long term. That was a 70% vote on that, and I would definitely agree. Long term, it's meant to be here for a long, long time, arguably forever. And I think that's going to be to everyone's benefit. So you guys are awesome. We did have a housing section of the podcast. Sorry, guys. Just running a little too long here. A little what's it called? A little too long in the tooth. Is that the phrase where it just means you're just long in the tooth? Anyway, so appreciate you guys listening in today. Appreciate you guys being here today. You guys have been an awesome set of guests, and I really appreciate it. But one last question. We're going to get you guys out of here. We are, a couple of days away from pre-patch. We're a little more than a month away from from midnight. But 1 month after this week's pre-patch, what should feel meaningfully better if it's working leading into midnight?
I would say classes.
Ooh, that's good. Do you think that'll be true even though we don't have, tier sets and the Apex talents and stuff like that?
Oh, well, you got to keep that in that's got to be a thought in your back of your head. You can't judge it based off that, but just the baseline class, I think, should feel, for some specs at least, some Fire Mage would suck, but some classes should feel like better and just more fluid overall.
What about you, Dal? What do you think should feel meaningfully better if it's working?
I think classes for sure, because you'll have a better picture of what they are looking like. I think raids in particular should feel meaningfully better, especially if you're removing all of these add-ons. All mechanics should feel, if Blizzard nails it, intuitive, right? Dungeons in particular should hopefully feel better if their systems as they're implementing work correctly. Yeah, those are the things that I think, if anything, they should focus on in terms of like ironing out, cleaning up on. In a month, those things need to feel better.
I don't think I mentioned this during the podcast, but man, I'm a big fan of the season 1 dungeon pool in Mythic Plus. I think it's going to be a fun season, sincerely. Even whether it's the dungeons that are being brought back, like Algathar's Pit of Saren for the first time, or the 4 midnight dungeons we get. I've ran them all at the 12 or 15 level, which is decently high on beta right now. I'm not pushing like 20s on beta, but
yeah,
they're fun. I'm liking them.
They're very fun.
Devalin, bring us home,
Definitely.
man. What do you think? What should feel meaningfully better over the next month?
I'll go a different way. I think with the housing and I don't know even how to say the word endeavors.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Because I think that is going to be a big game changer for housing, where we have like a common goal. Now you need to run around and clean up in your neighborhood. You need to kill bosses together in your neighborhood. It's going to like bring, like so right now everyone is just staying inside their house building, but this is actually bringing people out in the guild neighborhoods, cleaning up, killing bosses together, doing weekly goals. I think this is going to take housing to the next level.
Yeah. So when do Endeavors launch? Is it this week with the pre-patch?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's so
That's
cool.
epic.
Well, audience, viewers, listeners, do yourselves a favor, and in turn, do these guys a favor. Please go follow them on their various social media accounts. Go sub to them on their YouTube channel. Get plugged into their communities and participate in their charter neighborhoods or wherever they might be building. Run their endeavors. Have fun with them. Spend some time with them. Listen to them and whatnot. That's why they're here, is to make sure that you guys know they exist, and to hopefully you can have a good time with them when they stream, when they make content and whatnot. But you guys are awesome. Thank you three for being here today. I mean that sincerely. Real quick, anyone who's been listening or watching this, if you disagree with anything we've said, if you agree with it, whatever it may be, drop a comment below, engage with the video. It would be greatly appreciated. It would help us out, or help me out tremendously. But gentlemen, you're awesome. Can we go around one time real quick? Dal, we'll start with you. Where can people find you, and why should they care?
YouTube. I stream there. I post videos there. That's really about it. Or if you
Yeah.
want some like just regular random updates, or next time I steal another time-lost proto Drake, there's always my Twitter /X account, whatever you call it. I call it Twitter.
I do too.
But yeah, I that's if you just want to keep up with anything regular happening when it comes to midnight, when it comes to pre-patch, I'll be putting out content. If you want guides for Outlaw, Assassination, Subtlety, I'll definitely be doing those for midnight, as that'll be my main still going forward, still sticking strong with it, and actually excited about that class. So yeah,
Good, man.
welcoming community, or join us for 5 on one of my duels. Those are actually really fun.
Yeah, go check out his channel. He's got a lot of fun stuff on there. I saw your time lost proto Drake video.
Yeah.
That's
It was
awesome.
good. Memorable. I'm gonna remember that mount for the rest of my life.
Forever. Devalin, same question, man. Where can people find you, and why should they care?
Well, if you want the most casual, friendly content for World of Warcraft, then you should definitely find me on YouTube, making the most casual builds. Like, it's gonna make the pro players cringe when they see my content. But if you're a casual gamer, you're probably gonna enjoy it.
Hey, you outnumber us like 10-1. There's no cringe, buddy. It's all good, man.
And then I also really enjoy making recently, what do you call it, machinima.
Machinima. Yeah.
I really
Super awesome.
enjoy making that right now on my Instagram. So yeah, it's the same handle as you can see right now here. But yeah, casual content and machinima.
That's so cool, man. I didn't know that. I'll check that out. I didn't know you were doing that. That's so cool. Lance, thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate it. You run an awesome show week to week. Please let people know. I mean, I literally just said who you were, but let people know who you are and why they should care.
I'm Lance, one half of the Comeback Kids. Whether I'm the better half or the worst, that's up to you, I guess.
Hey, you're the half that's here, baby.
Yeah, we're the half that made it, but we are on the Comeback Kids on YouTube, Comeback Kids Official on Instagram. Couple of things I did want to bring up just before we get out. Dal, I watch your 5v5 1v1 duels a lot when I'm eating lunch. So thank you for doing those for years. Love that. I just want to ask, is anyone going to BlizzCon here? Any of us here?
No, not this year.
No? Well, then I won't be able to shake any of your guys' hands, but it's nice to ask, right?
Someday.
I'll be
Brutal,
watching.
thank you. I want to thank you so much, man. I've really enjoyed watching all of these episodes
Thanks,
of this
man.
podcast. And I watch everyone's content. I'm a avid just World of Warcraft content fiend. Whenever I have free time, I'm popping it in. So I thank all of you guys. But Brutal, man, this podcast has been awesome. I hope to see you continue to grow. And I'm very excited for you, your future of this podcast. It's awesome, man.
Thanks, man. I'll be begging you to come back on later this year. I promise. That's true for all of you guys, by the way.
Well, it's been a pleasure either way, and I appreciate everyone here. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, man. You guys are awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. Make sure you guys go follow these guys. I'm gonna get them out of here. I think this is the longest show by 3 minutes so far. So you broke the record, gentlemen. Way to go. DeValin, it's late where you are. You need to go to bed, sir.
It's 12 a.m.
No, I appreciate you guys. We will see you guys, or I'll see you guys next week. I keep saying this week to week. I don't have the guest set in stone for next week, but it'll be a good show nonetheless. But get out of here, gentlemen. Thank you again. Round of applause. And we'll see you next time. My name's Brutal. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. Oh, and have fun at pre-patch. Enjoy your Tuesday doing whatever it is you're doing, because it probably won't be wow. You guys are, again, not to overstate it, you guys are awesome. Thank you so, so much for your time today and your presence today and your thoughts and opinions today. I literally can't do the show without guests like yourselves, so thank you guys. But you are more than free to go. You have done more than enough, so hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to, if you'll allow me to invite you back again later this year for another take on things.
Definitely. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Thank you for putting this thing together, man.
Absolutely,
thank you for reaching
man.
out. So,
of
because
course,
I usually don't do a lot of these podcast things. So I was just like, I checked out the content. I saw who you had a guest. I saw the topics. I was like, you have some heavy hitters. I don't know if I'll be able to like, I mean, like, fantastic show. I just didn't really know like how I'd be able to stack up in terms of like the knowledge base. Of
no way, man. It's fantastic. So. I continue to be blown away that you guys, literally anyone continues to say yes. So I'm extremely grateful, believe me.
You know, one thing about WoW players is I think we're all inherently pretty humble.
I think it's so easy for people to look at, let's use, anyone from Liquid, Echo, anyone who's got, 500,000 YouTube subs. It's so easy to fall into this mindset of, oh, I can't talk to them. They're important to them. But it's like, man, we're all just nerds. We're all just gaming, vibing, hanging out,
Yeah.
That's the truth, man. I mean,
so yeah, there are definitely different levels of success and different focuses and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you're right. A lot of us just like to hang out and talk and just enjoy and talking about what we enjoy, which in this case is just a fun little video game,
That's it, man.
All right, go to bed. Get out of here. Well, so one of you needs to go to bed. You other guys, I'm
much love, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. It was a ton of fun. I
absolutely
hope to be able to converse with all you again, man.
Oh, it'll happen. Believe me. I'll make sure of it. I appreciate you guys. You guys
hit me
enjoy the rest of your day. Be
guys.
safe
Have
out there.
Amen.
Another fantastic experience. Those guys were. I love the fact that, again, I say this every week, but I mean it. I love the fact that I can say after every show, by golly, that was a lot of fun, because it was a lot of fun. Because they made it fun. They made it enjoyable. And I love the fact that we had Lance, who comes in and he's got a very approachable perspective or mindset. He doesn't do anything on the super high end, but he does engage with PvE. We had DeValin come in, who by his own admission at most runs a +5 every once in a while. And then of course Dal and I are relatively high end, running 15s and stuff like that. Not the best of the best, but we're consuming the high level content and just having those different perspectives on everything that's happening with the pre-patch. I love it's just a good reminder that it's not a one size fits all thing. There are people out there that play the game so differently from me and play the game for so many different reasons, which is it's just a good thing, obviously. Thank you guys for being here today. I appreciate you. Drewish, you're awesome. Oh crap, I forgot to check for questions before I. Okay. I think I only really missed one question, which I feel bad about, but better than missing all the questions. Thank you guys for being here today. Those of you who are listening and or watching, I appreciate you. I have the fun task now of rendering this video, which always takes like a literal quarter of a day. If I started rendering it right now, which I can't because I've got to do some intros and outros and stuff. But assuming I can get it rendering in the next 45 minutes, it might be done by midnight my time, and I'll probably be awake by then. So at that point, I should be able to get it uploaded, and then I'll get the chapters stamped before it releases tomorrow, and no big deal. Keyboard not found. Hello, a W to you. Yo, Paul, what up, baby? Drewish and OMV and anyone else listening, thank you guys for being here today. I do appreciate it. So here's a genuine question, and listen, honesty is, please be honest. You guys are welcome to let me know what you think. Did the format look, or not look, did it feel any different? I tried to get more out of everyone today, and I tried to focus on, getting more, all three of the guests to give their response or give a perspective on something, instead of Dal, here's a question, cool. Devalin, here's the next question, cool. Lance, here's the next question, cool. And just going from one to one, one guest to another guest. I really wanted it to feel more like a round table, more involved. How did the poll go? What was the engagement on the short notice? We think we had about 20 responses. Let me refresh it real quick. Yeah, we had 20 responses. One of those was mine. So not a ton of engagement on the poll. But a decent chunk of the audience and viewership. Jeff says, I think it was much better. Thank you. Felt more natural. Good. I do feel like everyone talked fairly equally, and each one was able to talk their niche without feeling out of place or forced. Good. Super quiet at work, so managed to catch it live for the first time. Thank you, ABDNZ. Is that NZ from New Zealand? But I ran like a good chat conversation rather than an interview. Good. Like my intention for the first 10 episodes, it really was, I was, and of course, and I am even here on episode 11, like I am interviewing these guys, but I heard the feedback, and I wound up, I don't want to fall into the trap of I'm right, you're wrong, because that's a horrible way to live your life. So I really listened to the feedback, on YouTube, and there weren't a ton of comments, but every episode, maybe every other episode, I'd hear something to the effect of, all you're doing is interviewing people one at a time. There's no engagement. There's no cross, there's no crossing of the streams or whatever you want to call it. There's no interaction. That's a better word for it. There's no interaction. Like, you need to get these guys involved. You've got some awesome guests. Get them talking with each other or even at each other at times. And I think that was a very fair critique and a very fair take on what was going on. I really enjoyed it as well. Your previous stuff involving all the people more into the discussions definitely seems good. Yeah. I liked having the discussion more open, allowed for a better flow. We got through more than most podcasts. It's always good when you get the guests interacting, but it's not entirely up to you. Also, really nice that you're inviting people who are not real hard pushers. It's cool to hear. Yeah, Keybound. And that's intentional, of course. I know for me, I don't want to only talk to people that are doing what I do. Mythic Raid, high level Mythic Plus. That's not. I mean, yeah, it'd be fine for me because that's what I like. But like we established in this episode, it's there's more to the game than running Mythic Plus. And there's more to the game than raiding. There's a literal whole world to dig into. I would say maybe you should watch Jack and Ellesmere episode. Jack versus Ellesmere is an all-time great. Yeah, Megaset and I are just vibing in the background while those guys go at it. Yeah. All right, I got to get out of here. I need to, like I said, do an intro and an outro for this episode. I need to edit it together, which isn't a big thing. I don't do anything fancy with the episodes, obviously. And then I need to start rendering it, which will take forever. God, I hate it. Gonna wind up, I think by the end of the year, I'm gonna have a secondary PC that's just for rendering these videos because of how long it takes. That way it doesn't tie up my PC for the rest of the day. I'll be live tomorrow on Twitch and YouTube. It's pretty typical, 9 a.m. Central, give or take. I will not be streaming at all on Tuesday. Shocker, I know. I'm sure there will be, undoubtedly, people on North American servers who are streaming WoW waiting room. I will not be one of them, nor do I plan on playing any other games. I try to take 1 weekday off per week to do YouTube stuff, TikTok stuff, podcast stuff, etc. So that will definitely be Tuesday for me. But I will be back, of course, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week to just check out the pre-patch. Probably do more beta than pre-patch, in all honesty. I feel like for me, there's not a lot for me to really do with the pre-patch other than set up my UI, but I'm actually probably not that anyone's asking, but I'm probably not going to do anything UI related until, yeah, I probably won't do anything UI related for a couple of weeks. Kind of let the dust settle, let new add-ons hit the market or existing add-ons kind of get through, get through the, fixing bug phase and the testing phase and the, hey, I want this in your add-on phase and let me implement it phase. But yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow, Scar, yeah. Yes, the kids are home tomorrow, but I'll still be streaming tomorrow. It'll be a pretty chill stream, aren't they all? There's nothing for us to do for weeks. I know, Addison. It's gonna be fun. Wow, waiting rooms are peak content. All right, get out of here. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I got mine almost set. Just seeing what happens. Yeah. I don't know what mine's gonna look like. I have no idea, but I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this episode, get it out. It'll be live tomorrow morning, of course. But love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here today. My name's Brutal. Make sure you follow and sub and all that fun stuff. I will see you in the morning, 9 a.m. Central here on Brutal Static Twitch and YouTube and everywhere else. Love you guys. Devalin, get some rest, man. Great job today, buddy. You were a fantastic guest. Loved your aura, your presence. Very calm. Hope you feel better, man. Hope that medicine and a good night's sleep does you wonders. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. My name is Brutal. Appreciate you. Goodbye.